Hey guys, it's me, Down Under Tea, and back finally with episode 157 of Meet Me in the Bunker. And really, I shouldn't be out here doing episode 157 because I'm sick as a dog. Excuse me. I'll try to avoid doing that as much as possible during this show, but I've been sick, and over the last few days, I've been lying in bed. And I came across this video of Alex Jones that he did, I think it was a couple of days ago, with this guy. And I don't even know quite who this guy is, to be honest with you. But he's done some deep dive into Charlie Kirk's death and some other things that he talks about. But the one in particular that I'm interested in talking about mostly, I'll talk about the other stuff as well, but mostly I'm interested and infuriated by his, what he says about Charlie Kirk. Now, look, I'm not an expert on any of this. I really am not. But deep in my heart of hearts, or deep in the depths of my soul, I don't feel like what this gentleman is claiming could possibly be true for a lot of reasons. And a lot of those reasons are pretty obvious as far as I'm concerned in the video that is shown throughout the interview. So I warn you now that there is images of Charlie's death in this video. They are graphic, and some may want to avert their eyes when they are on, and in the background I don't believe that there was any actual noise from the actual video. I believe it was just the vision, but still very graphic. And it sort of flashes on and off throughout the interview, so it would be hard to edit it out, unfortunately, because I have been pretty diligent in my discussing of Charlie's death, not to show the video, not to show that vision. I think maybe I showed it once on the day that it happened, the actual shooting happened, and I have desperately tried to avoid, as far as I know, and I don't think if you look back at my shows since Charlie's death that you'll find any of the vision. So I do apologise that it will be included in today's show. Just want to let everybody know that it is pretty disturbing if you haven't seen it before. So this gentleman is basically claiming that it's a conspiracy. A lot of people have been claiming this conspiracy. I think that there are, excuse me while I fix this camera cover. I think there are some theories that are plausible, especially the one about the people on the internet knowing something was going to happen, or at least boasting and assuming that something was going to happen, like telling people to be ready for it. I think certainly that deserves investigation, certainly more investigation than it seems to have gotten by the FBI. Trump's FBI have to be clear about that, and Kash Patel in particular have to be clear about that. As much as we all had high hopes for Kash Patel, and as much as he may be doing other good things, I, along with many, many, many others, believe that they botched this investigation. And my question is, was it with all intents and purposes to botch the investigation, or was it just botched because it was too close to home for a lot of these people, considering that Charlie Kirk was friendly with all of the people that are investigating his murder and were mourning him at work? And his personal life, of course, his wife and children. Anybody that's going to try and point fingers towards the innocents will fool you, and may hell befall you if you do. Anyway, as I said, this gentleman, I can't even remember his name. What is it? It is Jesse on Fire. That's his name. That's his screen name, obviously. Jesse on Fire. Assuming his first name is Jesse. His last name is something. But as I said, I came across this interview and I haven't been on, as you can well see by my content, but I just had to come on and talk about this because it's so damn infuriating. So I've been sick in bed all day, and it's like dinner time, and I'm got to cook dinner, but I've got to talk about this as well. It's not quite dinner time, but it's, almost dinner time. In my household, we have the late dinners, so, but, I'm crook as a dog. Suffice it to say, I'm that angry that I came out here, crook as a dog, to do this today. And so, for all intents and purposes, this is a rather long interview. It's 1 hour and 43 minutes. So I'm going to try to not interrupt as much as possible. Try to write notes. If I have my little picture in the top corner, you might see some facial expressions and no words, because that means I forgot to turn my volume up before I started screaming and ranting and raving. So that's that explanation. But it is a long interview, so best we get on with it so that I can cook dinner. Okay, guys, let's get on with this show. And saying that, enjoy, and I hope that maybe at the end, with things that I say, somebody might, agree with me that I think a lot of the stuff that this guy's saying is preposterous. And also I'd like to thank Alex Jones, for no copyright on his streaming services, because, a lot of people get a little bit touchy if you try and replay their stuff in full. So Alex has no problem with it, and therefore, thank you, Alex. Okay, guys, let's get on with it. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to get this into the screen, and then I might readjust as we go along. Okay, enjoy.
You see the Israel lobby coming out and saying it's preposterous. People are saying Israel did 9/11. They're kind of begging the question. Methinks she protests too much, like Macbeth. So we're going to look at the Israelis, not just Urban Moving Systems, who admitted, we were told it was going to blow up, so we got there that day, and they were connected to Mossad. That's everybody knows about that. We'll cover that. Don't worry. No, it's the Israeli / they're all Israeli, but out of Austria art project with the gelatin plastic explosive art project. And they said their project, they would release to the world their art on 9/11. And they're right there in the tower where the plane hit, in the exact spot where the explosions happened. Wait till we get to that. And the reason I'm doing this is what I've been saying for months, well, really last year. When Israel gets us in this forever war, they know it's not going to be easy. They're going to want to keep us in it. They're going to need a new 9/11. And Israel's fingerprints were all over that, with elements of our own Pentagon. And the neocons here. We're going to cover that too. Wasn't just Israel that hit the USS Liberty. It was in conjunction with McNamara in 67 and LBJ. That came out from the witnesses, from the admirals, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Moore, who I interviewed before he died on air, saying it. I've interviewed the admirals, and LBJ says, I want that GD ship on the bottom. It was meant to be blamed on Egypt so they could nuke them and go to war with Russia. Yeah, Operation Northwoods 2.0. So that's where we are here. And now all these top Israeli defense people and intelligence people say, we'll show America Iran's about to do a new 9/11, and then they'll get behind her where they're not even veiling. And I said their next move's a new 9/11 for months and months, and now they're saying, oh, yeah? New 9/11, bitch. You're going to be sucking our wiener. You're going to be putting your kids in the draft to do what you're told. And then they pop up and a bunch of them say it. Articles are at alexjoneslive.com. All right, I'm going to try to shut up and give our guest the floor. I agree with about 95% of what he says. He thinks this guy down in Palm Beach that does look a lot like, could be, Larry Silverstein's brother is Larry Silverstein. I mean, would they actually hide it in plain view like this? He says he's not. People think I'm Bill Hicks. I don't look that much like Bill Hicks, but I don't know. I don't think this is Larry Silverstein unless he did some plastic surgery, unless the head got smaller. And his head's more like a little peanut, though the teeth are similar. But if you're an Ashkenazi Jew, I mean, they tested this guy's DNA, Russian Jew, Polish Jew, originally Polish, and then went into Russia. I mean, they're probably, heavily related. I mean, but it's like you can look at a Labrador Retriever, a black one, and say, God, looks just like my dog I had when I was a kid, because the genetics are almost the same. You go to China and walk around, everybody looks the same. It's homogeneous, but we'll get to that later in the hour, maybe a little bit in the next hour, with our guest, Jesse on Fire. Is a YouTube creator, podcaster known for breaking down controversial news stories, politics, combat, sports, and internet culture with a focus on critical thinking and independent analysis. Got a great show, great energy, great brain. YouTube and Spotify, Jesse on Fire. Instagram, Real Jesse on Fire, and on X, Real Jesse on Fire. All right, you sent a lot of topics. Israel opposition in our politics and getting involved. The nightmare of the Iran situation, Jeffrey Epstein, and the evidence that he's living openly in Palm Beach. It's overwhelming. Not sure about that. Charlie Kirk assassination theory, that he's still alive. I think a lot of it does point towards that. Certainly the whole official story is horse manure. So, Jesse on Fire, take it away.
First of all, thank you for having me on. Huge fan, longtime fan. And I'm ecstatic to be able to talk to you about the Charlie Kirk one, because I basically told myself, I'm like, if Alex tells me I'm crazy, then I might just be like, okay, maybe I'll just shut it down. But I'm glad that it sounds like there is actual evidence that people agree with, because I don't know. Once I put the theory together, and obviously there's no way for me to know for sure.
Well, let me tell you what happened. I'm interrupting you right away, and I said I'd shut up, but well, you know what? I'll get to it later. Just make me go back to what I'm going to tell you after you talk about Kirk. In fact, let's start with Kirk first. Go ahead.
Okay, go for it. No, I was just going to say that, like, there's no way to know for sure, but once I put it together and I did this, I started doing this series on it, and every single thing that I went back and looked at, there's so much stuff to look at when it comes to this case that you forget about half of it until you go back. And every time that I went back and looked at something that didn't really line up, it lined up perfect if that's what's actually going on. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. So let me just throw this out because I want to hear from you. I don't go with these things usually, but I'll have folks on that I agree with, and I'll be honest about it, that I'm leaning towards this. Sean Johnson, Navy SEAL, whole bunch, 7 combat tours, really smart guy. Met him through Joe Rogan, they're friends. And he knows a bunch of other Navy SEALs and Delta Force guys, and we work out with some of them. About a week into it, he goes, that's a squib from stuntmen. That's what all the military guys think. They think he's alive. And he said, but obviously, he's got a podcast. He goes, I'm not going to say that because I'm not 100% sure. And then I'm like, I don't know. And then they said 30-6 to the neck and all that ridiculous crap. And then Cash Patel didn't want an investigation of accomplices, didn't want to look at foreign powers and the way his wife acted. It was either that or some type of low energy, slower air gun or something is what some other military think or something. Maybe exploding, Mike, and it didn't detonate properly. Why did they dig out the concrete under it under orders of the FBI and the governor? I mean, there is a cover-up. The official story is horse crap. So then what is it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to break it down in the most simple possible way and just not get into the meat and bones of it, it's like, if you can essentially, and by the way, just so I preface this, I'm not saying any of this is fact, but thought exercise. If you can prove that you have a half dozen to a dozen people who are in Charlie's inner circle involved that day, what is more likely, that they were involved in whacking out their best friend, husband, and whoever, or that they were involved in an elaborate hoax where the motive would have been Charlie. Have you seen the clip of Charlie talking about that that Joe Biden and Jack Smith had targeted him in the special investigation or in the special prosecutor investigation? He was like number 2 target apparently, and he spent the entire final year of the campaign believing that if Trump lost, he's going to go to prison for a long time.
He said the first thing he thought when Trump won at 1:27 at night Central that, oh great, I'm not going to prison.
Yep.
Okay, so right there, I have to pause it right there because, okay, so let's get this straight first. Charlie thought that he was going to go to prison if Trump didn't win. Okay, fair enough. Thought he was going to go to prison. But then Trump won. Why would he kill himself or pretend to kill himself to escape some prison sentence that he would only be facing if Trump didn't win? There's my first problem with this theory. Like, his idea is that Charlie was facing this terrible future, possible life imprisonment for whatever the case may be. Maybe he thought Israel was going to set him up or fit him up for some, horrific crime. I don't know, embezzlement or whatever. There was some hanky-panky apparently going on with the company, and, he ordered an audit before he died, and that was cancelled. It's just so much. Like, there's so much. But the person that's not here to tell us what actually happened is the only person that can actually tell us what happened. So as far as that theory is concerned, what a stupid theory. Why would you kill yourself or pretend to kill yourself, as he's saying, when the person that you just helped to win, that's perhaps what he's intimating is promised to keep him out of jail, because now Trump's got the DOJ and we'll just make sure all the charges get dropped. Don't worry about it, Charlie. Why would you then go within not even 5 months of his administration and plan for your exit? Wouldn't that be happening closer to 2028? To see who was coming up in the polls for the Democrats and all of that sort of stuff. That theory makes no sense. So let's just scrap that one straight away.
Yep. And so every person with a gigantic profile who is facing down an investigation, and again, I love Charlie.
They have major pressure on them to hit the ejection button and make themselves bigger than life. That way you have the cake and eat it too.
Yep. But I just mean that anybody who's facing inevitable prison, Kenneth Lay, stuff like that, it's like, if you know that you're going to go down, everybody's going to get to, well, my only out is fake my death.
And I do believe Ken Lay, that was fake. It would take an hour to go into it. He was down in South America, was seen. 100% that was staged.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean,
that was Enron, by the way.
The side of it that's like, oh, what happened that day? I've just looked to other people's research, because when I started putting it together myself, it had everything to do with the behavior of the people around it. I just couldn't figure it out.
Well,
for months.
that was the biggest thing. Is like they're laughing, they're smiling, they don't look upset. Where's all the blood? And it looks like a squib coming out. And I'm not, folks, I'm just saying, a week into it, there was a consensus with Sean.
Okay, so they're about to start showing all of the clips, as you can see. Where was all of the blood? Now, during these sequences, I'm going to have to pause it because there is a moment later in the interview where you can see them carrying Charlie out through that right side of the tent, my right that I'm looking at, the left side if you're sitting towards the audience. They take him out through that side and take him down to the car. Now, they keep saying absence of blood, right? But let's face it, we don't have a lot of blood inside of us. There's, 5 liters or 4 liters or something like that, some ridiculously small amount of blood. A lot of blood came out of Charlie when he got shot. Let's face it, at least 2 or 3 liters poured out onto that lawn there. When they got him, when he went down, when they were trying to stop the bleeding, when they were bouncing him around down the driveway to get him out to the car, and then shoved him in very awkwardly, from the vision that I saw. And of course, we only have X amount of liters or pints, if you're in America, of blood in our body. So, the absence of blood, a lot of it was on his shirt, and you'll see that as they're pulling him out. A lot of it was in the ground, and a lot of it was dribbed all the way to the car, and probably a lot in the car. They cherry pick photos with minimal amounts of blood in the spots. Look, they probably had a t-shirt over his neck in the car or something to stem the bleeding. You're not going to get a lot of blood pulsing out of somebody's body continuously for minutes and minutes on end with that sort of a wound. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm no expert, but I'm not an idiot. I know biology. I've spent a lot of time in hospitals. Right now, at the moment, I am currently spending a lot of time in hospitals, right? At this very moment in time, in and out of hospitals every single day, asking questions, talking to doctors, not necessarily about this, but in general, questions. And what he's assuming is that, where's all the blood? Let's get on with it, and you'll be able to see all the blood.
Johnson's military buddies who were he's a demolition expert, you name it, and a weapons expert. They said, no, we think that's fake. We think he's alive. And I said, well, I'm not going to go there yet. And now it's just the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I feel like a lot of people that focus on the case are, I would say they would consider themselves adversaries of TPUSA. I don't consider myself an adversary of anybody. And candidly, one of the main reasons that I did the series is because I saw when I thought that I had figured it out, I was like, I think everyone who's attacking them has a complete misunderstanding of what actually happened. And they're doing it where they're actually attacking Charlie. They think that they're protecting him, and they're doing the exact opposite.
Well, let's be clear. I mean, I wouldn't say super good friends, but I met him during the 2016 campaign. We flew on a plane together, talked a lot. He would call and thank me from time to time and said, great job.
Exact opposite. Well, everyone who's a area of anybody, and candidly, one of the main reasons that I did the series is because I saw when I thought that I had figured it out, I was like, I think
there's the blood. It's starting to come out of his neck, right? It's starting there. Okay. Whatever they think the Rode mic, the lavalier mic on his, they think that the lavalier mic exploded. Okay, well, if the lavalier mic exploded for a start, why is there no powder burns, no black, no fire ignition coming from that position there where the supposed lavalier mic blew up? Now, I don't know much, but I know that if you fire something that contains gunpowder or some sort of explosive, it's going to leave a powder burn. It's going to leave stippling. Where's all of that stuff that they keep saying it came from the lavalier mic, which is right about here where his palm of his hand is right now, right? Okay, let's even just imagine that it was a projectile that came from there to there. He had to have been in the exact right angle for that to have gone around his Adam's apple and up there into his neck, let alone not produce any stippling or a hole or a small fire underneath that shirt. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever fired a gun into a pillow to, you see them on the movies do it into a silencer. You could just go on YouTube and Google homemade silencers catching on fire. Okay, because they shove them in the pillow and then the actual spark from the gun creates a fucking fire. So there's no fire, there's no stippling. We're going to continue, and you'll see that there is continually no stippling even on the way down, and you'll see the pouring of blood as they're dragging him out.
Everyone who's attacking them.
Okay, now look, that would have to be at least 750 mils of blood just there that's pumped out of him before he's even hit the ground. At least a third of a litre of milk, 2/3 of a litre of milk, right? That's not a lot, but it's a lot when you only got a certain amount of blood in you.
Them has a complete misunderstanding of what
So,
actually
you
happened.
see,
And they're
boom,
doing it where they're actually attacking Charlie. They think that they're
boom. Okay, there's nothing's coming out yet because as you saw in that first spot, it was just trickling down.
protecting him, and they're doing the
There
exact
we go.
opposite.
Hang on. Look, see, we've got the 3. Look at those big globules of blood. Are you telling me where's the blood? Are you telling me where's the blood? Don't tell me that's a squib. Alex, I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. Look, I'm even wearing your hat. Excuse my voice. You cannot tell me that's a squib. You can't do it.
Everyone who's attacked
Not a squib. Unless they implanted a squib inside his neck with like 2 litres of blood in it. That's not a squib. Please at least agree there.
attacking them has a complete misunderstanding of what actually happened. And they're doing it where they're actually attacking Charlie. They think that they're protecting him, and they're doing the exact opposite.
Well, let's
Like,
be
they're-
clear. I mean, I wouldn't say super good friends, but I met him during the 2016 campaign. We flew on a plane together, talked a lot. He would call and thank me from time to time and said, great job exposing Epstein, keep it up, put pressure, good pressure, you put pressure on Trump.
Not
He wants to go to they're trying to get him into full war. That's right before he got killed. I mean, I got the phone records. He called me and texted me. And so he was a great guy, and that's why it's hard to believe any of this, the boldness to stage it. But the official story, again, the 30-6, none of it's true. And so, yeah, when you...
Okay, again, I have a problem with that. None of it's true. 30-06. 30-06. Well, I have a problem with that because in my experience, oh my Lord, why does it do that? Shush. Oh. What is going on with this stupid phone? Excuse me. Ugh. I don't know why it would not let me respond. To stop that, my apologies. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, the 30-06. Well, it's just I'm not going to get into any technical explanation about it because I don't really have one, except to say that every single bullet does something different. Every single encounter that a bullet has with a material of any sort, the reaction, like they say, oh, we shot beef and this, you'll hear us say, oh, we shot this and that and the other, and we shot it over and over, and every single time it just cleared it, every single time, except the time that it didn't, or the time that you haven't tried yet, because every single time, like the one time, like, do you believe in miracles? Because maybe it was a miracle. Who knows? Who knows? Are we dismissing miracles all of a sudden, Alex? Are we? Just because it didn't do what experts say it should have done? I'm not accepting that as a valid excuse either. I believe that there could be another reason, and I'll get into that later, but I'm not going to solely and wholly throw out that the bullet that hit Charlie Kirk, whether it was a 30-06 or not, could not have done anything else but blow through his neck and rip his head off. Let's go.
Look at all this. It really does point towards that. And I'm a big TPUSA fan. I think their work's been very important. Exactly. I'm not saying this just to get clicks or something. In fact, I could have come out week one with, all these Delta Force and Navy SEALs. There was a consensus. Sean was getting them on the phone and stuff. They were like, oh, no, we all know it's fake. He's alive. And these are experts. They're like, that's fake.
Yep. Yeah. And when you look at Erica specifically, The other thing to look at, and I always recommend this to people, is I go look at her and Charlie on video together before this happened and then compare it to afterwards. Because how do you explain the gigantic shift in energy? Like, obviously she's not showing grief, but she also is totally normal on camera when she's with Charlie. To me, it appears like they have an incredible relationship. And so you look and you're like,
no,
how
exactly.
would
She looks loving and beautiful and genuine when Charlie's there. Then her eyes get crazy. She acts witch-like. If you wanted to be an actress and put off to come off as disingenuous, you'd have to be a master actor to look that disingenuous.
Yes, that's an excellent way to put it. You would have to be Daniel Day-Lewis to successfully look as disingenuous as she has looked in all of these things. But also, when you think back on a lot of the early stuff where, they put on Instagram where she's there, over the coffin, and you're like, what is this? Like, who would do this? Like, who would make a show like this unless, you're trying to sell it? And the other thing too is when Milo Yiannopoulos went on Tim Pool's channel, I think it was on December 5th, 2025, if I remember correctly. And he outed the fact that he knew for 100% sure that Charlie had not been buried yet. It's like a hair short of 3 months after the assassination. And that was right when Erica went on that press tour. Literally right after that is when she went on the press tour and she was like, can I just have this one thing? And so in hindsight, I'm like, this feels like this might have been a reaction to this, this big elaborate a big thing that they definitely were like, oh my God, how could he have known that? And now everybody knows that.
Yeah, we were just showing a joke video of a fake Erica. I told the crew, and they're doing a great job. No need to show the fake ones. Show that first rally where she doesn't come out eyes swollen, crying, any of that. She's like, woo, baby, in the hot black pants. Oh, God. And everybody's like, what the hell is this? And then it just goes on. And then she overcompensates, all acting pissed off. I'm sorry. And I even told TV USA, they're highest level people, I said, listen, because I don't think they killed him. I know all these people well. I've had dinner with them. These are like nerdly Christian. I don't mean that mean. Like we need people to vote. Yes, we're working hard. Alex, you need to stop drinking. I've actually been out to dinner with before. And Alex, you should. I know you're a Christian, but you sure you should have another double vodka? No. I mean, these are not Lex Luthor people. But then you look at the story, none of it adds up. And I've told that high-level folks, like, let me do you a favor. This is early on. I said, tell her to shut up. Just shut up. You're hurting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically the fundamentals of the entire belief system for me. Was I looked at these guys, and especially if you look at the video of them on election night and you look at how they all interact, it's like these are good people who love Charlie. They don't like him. He's not like a bot. These
and
guys,
that's another reason I came to her defense early on, because I had dinner with them 5 or 6 times, been into a few of their events, and you can't fake this Christian stuff. And I'm Christian, but I'm not like Bible thumper on your ass. When I saw they're having orgies at TPUSA, they're all on cocaine. No, folks, it's a snore fest.
I have to say that, like, even I have to agree with Alex there. It's a snore fest. I mean, it's not a snore fest. There's a lot of like excitement and enthusiasm and a lot of if they are having orgies at the buildings that Charlie broke his back and lost his life over, then, well, I'll be a monkey's uncle, because I would never have expected it from any of those people that I met over during the Amfest days. So, show me the video. If these are the rumors, who's spreading the rumors? Why are they spreading the rumors? And how are they going to back them up? So let's not even go there. That's just debaucherous. I mean, really debaucherous. And I agree. There's just like not. I mean, I don't know what these people do in their private lives, but I don't think there's a private TPUSA chat for orgies. It's just my opinion.
Of them making phone calls, doing interviews, and workaholics. I'm telling you, there's no swinging from chandeliers. That's why when you see all this stuff about them, now she's had a little bit more racy past before Charlie, but the rest of these people, this is like watching paint dry, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the other thing too is let's say hypothetically that they had actually been involved in a large conspiracy to whack him out. when they're doing the podcast early on, where you had Mikey McCoy, Blake Neff, Andrew Colvett, and Erica on that one, and it was like 12 days after Charlie had supposedly gotten killed. None of them are sad at all. Like they're all ear to ear smiles. I'm like, this makes no sense. Like and at the time I couldn't put it together. I was just like, what's up with these people? I don't get it. It was all in hindsight when I started really thinking through a bunch of different things. You know what the big key that actually the final thing that was like a lightning bolt where I'm like, I think I figured it out, was actually Phil Lyman's appearance on your show, like literally within a day or two afterwards, when he said that he had seen those two girls and they were goth or whatever, and they go, oh, F these people. And for some reason, right after I heard Erica's recording after the memorial, and she was talking about the merch sales, I was live streaming that when I listened to it for the first time, and I closed it out. I'm like, she's either an alien or Charlie's alive. I don't think that there's a third option here. And I walked downstairs, and for some reason, that Phil Lyman interview popped into my head, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, Phil Lyman says it's those two girls. That points to the leftists. And for some reason, that was the one where I'm like, I know what they did. Like, I know what they did. And then I started putting it together from there because
let's start walking through that. I don't know what you're going to say, but you have all these leftists right when the gunshot goes, turns around and yell, yay. You have this weird known leftist operative that pops up everywhere for the Bushes and others for decades, who popped Zen, is his name. He pops up and says, I did it, I'm the shooter. And then he says, I did it so he could get away. They thought they were part of something more like decoys or for the show. None of them were in fear. I don't think they were read in on the whole thing. Is that where you're going with this?
Well, with those people, I think that there was just a very concerted effort to push the suspicion towards leftists. Like it seemed like a very,
they were there to be leftists saying, yeah, you killed him too. Like they were, and you had 10 different trannies say he'll be dead tomorrow, and then Cash won't look into them. I was told by TVUSA, well, he doesn't think they can convict him. So, and he tells Tulsi Gabbard, don't look at them and don't look at Israel. So, yeah, but what you have is them pushing a narrative day one that isn't true. You have a clear Chat GPT confession letter. You have the gun found reassembled in a chicken coop when no other gun dogs can find it. The FBI finds it in 2 minutes. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's a magic bullet just like JFK, but even more magic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so as it relates to the leftists who were there, because I covered this case extensively from the very beginning, and I was one of the only people who was really pushing back hard on the official narrative, but I was still focused pretty heavily on the leftists. I thought it was leftists, and I just thought it was a huge group of them.
Yeah, now, we had a bunch of trannies running around killing people.
Cheering?
Sir, we had a bunch of trannies running around killing people every week then. It made perfect sense. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I made some connections between one of the leftists that I thought stood out as a very likely, conspirator to the Robin Westman one in Minnesota. I mean, I have this whole thing. I mean, I covered it extensively on that side, but at the end of the day, it's like, it wouldn't be challenging to put a bunch of leftists physically there if you leak the fact that something's going to happen there through those channels and you put them there on purpose. Because that's what I was saying is originally I'm like, I don't care if someone just had read in a forum that they're going to clip Charlie that day. If they knew that, showed up, put him in prison for 50 years just for knowing and not saying anything.
Jesse, you're on fire. Jesse on fire is our guest. We're going to come right back with him. I agree where he's pointing. I'm not saying 100%, but the other stuff 100% doesn't make sense. It is a lie. But then, but he wasn't even really shot. Why dig up all the concrete and say, destroy the crime scene? Again, I mean, this sucker gets weirder. This is the ultimate whodunit, folks. This makes JFK look simple. We'll be right back with Jesse on Fire. I'm Alex Show. But let me announce the kickoff of the summer sale. This is going to run for 2 weeks, and different items for only 3 days will be buy one, get one free. Right now, it's Ultra Methylene Blue, the very best methylene blue. You've heard about methylene blue. Ours is medical black hat. Good look. Say screw you. Bloomberg's gun control group is 2 weeks. That is rumble.com, building a bigger studio. Out by the Israelis, or you are the clipper. Oh, take action now. Jesse on Fire is a very smart guy, and I watch his show every couple days now. When I first found him like a year ago, I'd watch him here and there. I thought, oh, that's a smart guy. But now he's definitely a go-to. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I always get called that. 98% of what I do is public events. I give my analysis, my opinion on it, okay? And I have guests on to talk about interesting things. and the media will take snippets out of context or this or that. It's just what they do. And people actually find the show. They go, well, this is different than what I thought it was. But, I mean, military experts, a week into it, and I didn't really get in arguments with Sean Johnson. I was just like, that's bold, man. I know these guys, and they're a bunch of, happy campers. And he goes, yeah, okay, well, and then the 30-06 thing, all that's even more insane. And you watch their body language, and I didn't know he was going to cover this topic there. I have it already. Guys, pull up. There's pretty up-close video of when they grab him and put him behind the deal, and they're sitting there smiling, and it's low energy, and when they're carrying him to the car, I mean, I'm sorry. I've had Green Berets on, people that have, medics, you name it, even them that are trained, when they're putting pressure on blood and bullet holes, they are stressed out. Their eyes are like this. I mean, I've been at car wrecks and helped people, and I know I'm all adrenaline, all like this. I mean, even paramedics are like that. You don't see somebody you really known for over a decade. They're good for, I mean, I've had friends hurt before, and you see their compound fracture or something, you got to get sick of your stomach because you care about this person, even if you're tough. I didn't see people puking. I didn't see any of the stuff you'd see out of if you had like 20 of your crew with you, I guarantee if somebody shot me in the neck and I'm bleeding out, there'd be crew puking, there'd be people freaking out, at least some of them. You didn't see any of that. You saw them running around like they'd had football plays, grabbing all the equipment, grabbing the stuff like it was all super rehearsed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the lack of blood. That was one of the things too that
Here we go with
I heard prior to me even entertaining this theory was like, I heard guys that are, very, very experienced special ops guys, and they're like, where is the blood all over their hands, their shirts, their feet, their shoes, everything? There should be an enormous amount of blood on all of these guys, and they're carrying him. There's no blood.
Okay, so first of all, why would they? What is compelling them to have to provide you or any of us, except for the courts, the proof that they didn't have blood on their shirts? How do you know that those shirts are not currently in possession of the district attorney who's prosecuting the case? How do you know those shoes? How do you know the throat coats that we've seen pictures of all over the floor aren't part of the evidence, like the actual lollies themselves? How do we know that? Like the prosecutor is not going to divulge any of that evidence to us until the court case. So why don't we just take a chill pill and wait and see what's brought up as evidence before you start making these wild accusations that where's all the blood? Well, the blood's quite plainly there. I showed it to you in that first snippet, and you could see it if I go back into this. You see, right? This is just where the guy gets ducks, because everybody's ducking, as you can see from the background. Everybody's ducked because the shots have now landed.
Grabbing the stuff like it was all super rehearsed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead.
Here we go. So
yeah, no, I agree. And then and the lack of blood. That was one of the things too that
microphone down.
I heard.
That's it. He gets the thing. So there we go. Look right there. Perfect. You cannot see. Okay, that's going up, right? But there is a lot of pressure behind a bullet. Okay, so he's moving. He's being flung backwards by the pressure of the bullet. The T-shirt's going to move. The weight of the lavalier that was hanging inside the shirt, the black thing that you saw on the outside, was the magnet that holds it inside the shirt. I have actually shown my own Rode lavalier mics, exactly the same as that one that Charlie was wearing. And the magnet you can do it from the outside with the magnet, you can do it from the inside with the magnet and the lavalier on the outside, or you can actually clip the lavalier to your shirt. That's how it works. That's how they work. There's no difference to any of the Rode lavalier mics. That's how they work. You can connect an earpiece to it. You can listen to yourself if you've got the right setup as you're talking. So, okay, let's just discount that exploding lavalier mic right now. So he's taken the shot. You can see his arms gone back like that. So his arms are up like that because the force of the shot. His face is all puffy. You can see it like that. He's just copped it right here. Okay. Now, he almost has the beginning of the seizure, and there is some footage in here where you'll see him actually seizing on the floor when he's being tended to after hit at a different angle. So watch. Just watch.
Prior to
blood, look, blood, all pouring out there. So it's all pouring out onto his leg, down off of his leg. There's a few drops that spattered onto his wrist.
Entertaining this
his
theory was
hand.
like,
there. Look at
I
all
heard
of
guys.
that blood. Look at all of that blood.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then and the lack
Here
of
we
blood.
go.
That was one of the things
Lack
too
of blood.
that
See, it's ironic
I
that he
heard
says
prior
lack
to
of
me
blood.
even entertaining this.
Sorry, go ahead.
So
Yeah, no, I agree. And then and the
I mean,
lack of blood. That was one of the things too that I
See-
heard.
okay, so let's just go back a tiny fraction. Because I want you to see the mic. You see that little black thing there? Right there. That is actually the mic lavalier magnet that is attached.
That was one of the things too.
Right there. There it is. It's that little black dot right there. So it's already pulling down on the shirt because of the weight of the lavalier. Okay? Now, Charlie gets shot and gets blown back. Okay? So the shirt's not going to get blown back. The shirt's going to stay where it is, or to a degree, right? Charlie's literally getting blown back inside the shirt. The lavalier's here, okay? But the shot hits, the magnet pops off, the shirt goes down. The lavalier drops, the shirt goes down. Charlie's bleeding profusely until he falls to the ground and continues bleeding while he's on the ground. The guys that have got their hands in his neck, I'm assuring you, have had pictures taken of the way that they were, like they would have been told. I mean, who would want to sit there for hours on end truly in the blood-soaked clothes of your best friend? That's traumatizing.
That I heard.
Okay, there he goes. The lavalier, you can see it popping up. The magnet is now gone. Okay, so the magnet's now gone.
Prior to me even.
There's the blood. Look at all that blood. All of that's running down his shirt into his black trousers.
Entertaining.
More gobs, big blobs of
This
it.
theory.
Look at that. Look at that big gushing amount of blood there. I'm sorry, people. You cannot tell me no blood anymore. It's a factual misnomer.
Was like, I heard guys.
See that? As he went down, a huge swathe of blood, literally.
That was one of the things too that I heard prior to me even entertaining this theory. Was
Boom.
like,
Look at that. Look at that big clump of blood gushing out of his neck, people. Give me a break. I'm not a fucking idiot.
I heard guys that are,
Now,
very,
these guys
very
are-
experienced
there's
special
not-
ops guys, and
his
they're
neck
like,
is
where
only
is the
so
blood all
big.
over their hands, their shirts,
Not
their feet, their
everybody
shoes,
had their
everything?
hands on
There
his
should be
neck.
an
And if they did,
enormous amount of blood on
they're
all of these
stupid.
guys,
They
and
have
they're
no
carrying him.
idea
There's no
about
blood
first
trail on the
aid,
cement.
'cause you
They
cannot have
ignore
16
the
people
first
trying
aid
to hold
guy
his neck.
when they try to
Right.
approach the car.
Was just going to go back. Now,
An
watch him pick him
enormous
up.
amount of blood on all of these
Watch,
guys,
they
and
pick
they're
him
carrying
up.
him. There's no
They
blood
pick him
trail
up,
on the
there's no
cement.
blood trail,
They
no
ignore
blood trail on my
the
ass. Right, see that? What is all of that? Can somebody tell me? Blood all down his arm there, all down his shirt. Alex, I beg you, please, if you watch my show, please, if you watch anything, please, I'm alive on Twitter and everything, please take notice. This is blood here. This is a lot of blood, not to mention the blood that's on the floor, not to mention the blood that's on this guy's arm here who's picking him up, not to mention the blood that's still pouring out of his neck. This is blood. This is not disputable anymore.
First aid.
Look, you can see it, even look at it. Look, his arm, his face, his cheek there, his cheek right there. I don't have the tools to zoom it in. I think somebody else would, but his cheek is covered in blood, right? His face went down onto his neck where his blood was spurting out. The blood gushed up under his neck and onto his face. Just no fucking blood. Get real.
Aid guy, when
Get
they try
real.
to approach.
I mean, seriously, let's watch it again.
An enormous amount of blood on all of these guys, and they're carrying him. There's no blood trail on the cement. They ignore
Look at that. Look at the way that, like, these guys, I will tell you that in the shock of the moment, they were not prepared and had to carry him in this awkward position, which obviously did not help his situation. He would have bled out. They would have been better off, seriously, holding his wound and keeping him on the floor and getting an ambulance to them and keeping as much blood in Charlie's body as they possibly could. That is where they fucked up. The fuck up was picking him up like that and dragging him to the car 100 meters away and shoving him in the car like a sack of potatoes and trying to find a hospital. That was their mistake, and that more than likely is what killed Charlie, not the bullet, of course, added to it. The bullet started the train, the derailing train. But we're never going to know if Charlie could have survived until proper I mean, the reports all say there was an ambulance there. There was an ambulance there, and they didn't call it. They got him to the car first. They should have immobilized him, left him on the floor, stemmed the bleeding, and called for help. Immediate emergency help and evacuation. That's what they should have done. They did try their best. They panicked and they fucked up. That's my opinion. But look at that blood. You cannot deny that that is blood. Charlie's head is slumping over into his neck, into the other guy's arm. He's going to be covered in blood. He's not going to the hospital and staying there with his arm covered in blood. He's hopefully going to get that arm photographed by a detective and gets to wash it off as soon as possible. Any other items of clothing or blood, these guys would have had to have given it to the police. If Cash was doing his job, that is, if Cash and the DOJ from wherever in Ohio is doing their job, the prosecutors, they would have been immediately notifying these guys to preserve all of the evidence. Look, the reason that they paved that thing, to me, is just, I have no freaking idea. The only possible reason that I can think of is that it was booked and they just didn't know what to do. And the cops didn't know what to do. Like, seriously. Cash was a baby in this job at that time.
The first aid.
Look at all that blood, see? Blood on his cheek. You can see it in the sunlight. Blood all down there, all coming down his chest. A little bit, maybe, I don't know if that's blood or his actual rib cage down there. Very shoddy, like removal of a patient or evacuation of a patient, I have to admit.
Aid guy, when they try.
But, you know, in the shock of the moment, what are you going to do? They were terrified, absolutely terrified.
An enormous amount of blood on all of these guys, and they're carrying him. There's no blood trail on the cement. They ignore the first aid.
See, look.
Guy.
Lots of blood. I'm sorry, people.
When they try to approach the car, and it's just, you know, and again, I thought, I mean, if you wanted to boil my theory down to a single concept, it's that aid, they're shooting everything. They was like, I heard
Right, so they're
guys that
bringing him
are,
around. You can see
very,
they
very
open the gate. Look,
experienced
there's guys
special
there
ops
with
guys, and they're
cameras,
like,
right?
"Where is the blood
There
all
is
over
a
their
lot of
hands, their
footage
shirts,
that
their
we are not
feet, their
seeing.
shoes, everything?
fucking
There
lot.
should be an enormous amount of blood on all of these guys, and they're carrying him. There's no blood trail on the cement. They ignore the first aid guy
Look at
when
all
they
that
try to
blood.
approach
Are
the
you
car,
kidding me?
and
Are
it's
you
just
fucking kidding
and
me?
again, I thought, I mean, if you wanted to boil my
Look,
theory down to a
see,
single concept, it's that everybody sees these inconsistencies and they have less
from
faith
very
in humanity
beginning.
than I do, where I'm like, these guys are not going to conspire to kill him. So if there are all these inconsistencies, it has to be something else, because these are good people. Like they're not gonna do that. So that's literally the only place where I differentiate from everybody else, is that I'm giving all of them the benefit of the doubt, and they're interpreting it to be murder because they're taking for granted that Charlie's
But then
dead and I'm
the
not.
30-06 steel neck crap and all this, none of that adds up.
Oh yeah, it's not nonsense. Yeah, we went, myself and Heavy Duty Country has a huge channel on.
Look at that. That right there is probably one of the better shots. That is the magnet, right? That's holding his lavalier. There's probably the point of the lavalier right there. And then we will.
On YouTube.
Okay.
As well. And
that is the hole.
And we went out to his ranch.
Gone. See, the magnet's gone.
And we shot every single type of 30-06 at like these huge roasts. We put a big cow femur behind it. It obviously just tore through everything. Valhalla VFT went out there. He shot, I think it was like half-inch steel. 30-06 went straight through it. And so they said that it was a frangible round. So I went on the internet. The only frangible rounds I could find were relics from World War II, and I bought them. They were like $12 each round. I think we got 6 of them. And, people were like, you probably shouldn't shoot those. And we're like, well, we're just going to roll the dice. And we shot them, but you could hear that the powder had degraded. They were probably going half or maybe even 40% as fast as they, would have been normally.
Barely made it out of the barrel.
Still ripped straight through the roast and straight through the bone, all of it.
Sure, I watched the report, and other people's as well, and I saw people going, oh, well, it was a sabot. Well, if it was a sabot with a smaller round, it goes even through things faster. It just, and again, you have those air marshal, 9mm that don't go through the plane. Still, they go,
Yeah, but let's just take a look at what have we got here. The bullet's gone in here, right? It's clearly on. It clearly seemed to me that it was going on an upward trajectory. Okay. This is just a layman's view. Upward trajectory. What have we got behind that entrance wound? We've got this big muscle nerve thing here that my massage man always pinches and it puts me in excruciating agony. But fuck, it feels good. Then if you go back to here, you've got a lot of muscle and sinew and veins. Everything's coming up into the spinal cord here. Then you've got your spinal cord that comes right up here, right up into the back of your neck, right? And it supports this really big bone that we have up there called our skull. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a skull, but you know that a skull actually is quite thick, has to be, because, it has to withstand a certain amount of normal beating. I mean, boxers get their heads beaten in all the time and their skull doesn't crack all the time, but sometimes it actually does. So, where's the differential? How many times does a boxer have to get hit in the head before his skull cracks? Okay? 30-06, frangible bullet, non-frangible bullet, smaller size, bigger size, whatever. Big fucking bone right here that's going up. Let's just say that same trajectory. There's the bottom of that skull right there. That's a pretty fucking big bone. Then you've got as I said, you've got the whole collection of vertebrae, all the veins and muscles in there. Why do you assume that that one bullet can be replicated in any fashion ever again. Why do you assume that? Because it can't, it is impossible that it happened. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It can only be replicated in the exact same circumstance, if at all. And how do we replicate Charlie's death in the exact same circumstance? Well, that's a no-brainer, because you need a human. You need a human body like Charlie's to withstand the bullet, and you need many human bodies to practice on over and over and over again to see if one of them doesn't go through. That's the only way that you can prove that theory. It's the only fucking way. You can use all the cows on the fucking planet and it still doesn't prove your theory. It actually makes less sense when you think of it that way. We're not shooting at cows, we're shooting at humans. Now, I've seen people, the experts that Alex is talking about, I've seen them with their replica human heads and their replica skeletal system inside. But that head is sitting on a block, not on shoulders, not on a torso. It's sitting on a block of wood. And it's from here up. It's not going to prove anything. It's not, because there's no veins, there's no sinew, there's no anything in there except the basic skeletal muscles, the skull and the spine stem from the neck to the base of the brain, to the base of the head. That's, you go and Google it. If you don't believe me, go Google it. It's all there. You cannot replicate Charlie's death without killing another human being or a cadaver. Have plenty of cadavers to shoot at. See who's going to donate their body to science. I'm sure there's lots of greenies that want to. That'd be fun, actually, putting bullet through a dead greenie's neck. Don't you think? That would make a story. Come on, Alex. See some sense and correct these guys, because I can see it, and I think you, Alex Jones, can see it too. The way I see it anyway. If you see it the way I see it, you can't see it the way he sees it. Now, that's not to say that I don't think something was afoot. Again, I don't want people to discount that I think that something was afoot. I'm not saying it was the bullet. I'm not saying it was Tyler Robinson. I'm not saying it wasn't the people that the transverse that were making all of these idle threats. What I am saying is that you cannot replicate the bullet that took out Charlie without replicating it on another human being's body. And even so, you won't get the same blood loss that you got from Charlie, because Charlie was a living, breathing human being and his blood pulsated through his body. A dead person's won't. So, you know, there again, you can't even prove it with a dead body, really. Unless you like pump them up full of blood so it explodes, all of the veins and that are full of blood and ready to explode. See how long it takes to drain out. Carry the body the way that they carried the body. See how much blood drips all over them. See how much blood drips on Charlie on the floor, or the Charlie bot imitation on the floor where Charlie falls. You know, you realise this is how you have to replicate Charlie's death. You can't stick a lump of meat on a block 100 feet, 110 feet away, or whatever it was that they say he shot from, and replicate it. You just can't. You have to do it at the school, from the position, in the position that Charlie was sitting in, with a real body. If you want to dispute that, take me to court.
Through a neck. So, yeah, absolute horse crap.
Yeah. I mean, it says there's nothing there. There's nothing there, man, on a neck.
So no one's buying
slow it down.
Undoubtedly, you watch Trump's poll numbers. Kirk gets killed. They cover up Epstein. The Iran war. He's gone from like 56 points or even higher to 30 now. Don't they get that this has not worked well for them?
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing is sometimes like some of the kind of standard pushback that I get is they're like, okay, well, so why would the administration have agreed to this? I'm like, did you see Butler? I'm like this. So it's not just that it was going to be, if it would have worked, it would have been a positive thing for their, forthcoming control of the government. But the other thing is like, it's like what you would have had to get a yes from Trump. And it's like, so what is going to motivate Trump? And immediately following the assassination, they publicly announced that they had deemed Antifa and these left-wing groups as domestic terrorists, and that unlocks the Patriot Act. And they specifically said that they were then going to be able to target the people who are funding those groups, which are undoubtedly the exact people who are trying to put Charlie in prison, trying to put Trump in prison. So it would have been the context.
And now let's expand on that.
Bury those guys.
100%. Now what happened at the UFC? I've had FBI experts on, you name it. But the FBI famously hatches like 97% of these terror plots with Muslims. Same thing here. Oh, it's Antifa. Oh, it's anti-data centers. Oh, they're anti-AIPAC. Now let's ban anybody that criticizes AIPAC. That's what the Israeli operatives are calling for. And then they put out this new terrorism prospectus alert that the domestic terrorism is the main threat. And I get it. The left are terrorists, blowing up the Teslas. I agree. But when they do something, but instead, we got to surveil everybody and ban criticizing AIPAC, now it shifts from don't kill conservatives or anybody else to, if you're anti-AIPAC, you're a terrorist. And then you look at all these people they've indicted. They literally all live with their mother. Like one of them had a gun. They have like 80 IQs. None of it was real. It was all delusional crap. They called it a very serious threat. They stopped. Whole thing a PR exercise. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. And the other thing that I noticed about that particular story was the day that they announced it, they said that they had arrested 5 people of a 23-person plot in a signal group, which made me think, the Whitmer one, it was like, they got 2 or 3 guys that they entrapped and then like 12 agents and informants. So if they only arrested 5 of the 23, then how many of the other people were just entrapping these guys? And then they ran another story after that a couple days later where they said that local law enforcement was upset that Cash had announced the arrests because it somehow jammed them up from making additional arrests, which I think was probably them, responding to people pointing out that they had only arrested 5 of 23. And they're like, they're like, well, now we can't do it. We can't make the other arrests because, Cash announced it or whatever. You know what I mean?
And that also adds to cover up. And guys, I had this from the top of TPUSA, and then I got it from inside the cabinet. I broke all this. Remember, like 6 days after he was killed. Cash comes in. I have the president's authority. We're not looking at foreign intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, and we're not looking at the trannies that said he'll be dead tomorrow. And so I raised that to TPUSA. They go, well, he didn't think they could get the convictions. Whatever. It's the proof. It's trannies. But if you don't have it's the proof, it's them, then you don't want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. And everybody thinks that I don't know this to be a fact, and I'm certainly not trying to throw anybody in a jackpot, but I've been operating under the assumption that Joe Kent was the original source who publicly, who got that word out that Cash had blocked their ability to look into foreign ties. And again, that's one of those things where I understand why people would be, everybody, of course, is going to assume that Israel did it because they had motive. They have a history of, assassinating their detractors or people who are, getting in between them and what they want. You had Charlie specifically railing against the future Iran war. Now they
and then they said that wasn't true.
It's right there.
And then Candace released all the receipts, which I confirmed. He called and thanked me for stopping the war at Midnight Hammer. He called me, and I'm like, really? Well, thank you. And he was calling a bunch of people. So I knew. Plus, I have the text messages. But let me just throw this at you. Let me clear it up. And I'm sure Kent was involved. It was not Joe Kent told me at the cabinet meeting with the vice president, Joe Kent, Tulsi Gabbard, a bunch of others, Susie Walls, and Trump. But Trump left the meeting. He always does that. And then Patel's like, I have the president's backing. We're not looking at any foreign involvement. You're not supposed to be involved in my intelligence, which he said he was going to abolish the intelligence arm of the FBI, get rid of the building. Her agency was created to share intelligence and be over that. So there he is doing that. I got it from somebody else. Then Harrison would never tell me his source. I knew he'd had Joe Kent on before. Harrison Smith goes to this Ron Paul 90th birthday or whatever about a month before he's killed. High-level folks come over and are like, yeah, no, Charlie's afraid they're going to kill him. He makes some calls. I'm not going to say when. I'm going to give the whole details. Joe Kent was already looking at this. So they already thought. And then afterwards, then he calls Harrison up after he's killed. So yeah, Joe Kent at the National Counterterrorism Center had his ear to the ground and was really doing his job. I mean,
yeah, he's one of the guys that you look at and I just am always going to take for granted that he's doing the right thing. There's not a lot of them. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of people where I just trust their motives.
Oh, well,
completely.
Mark Levin said, who is this
Charlie's
punk?
one
What's
of them,
he know?
And so is Joe Kent.
Only 18 combat tours, wife killed trying to save kids with the CIA. What's he know? He's just a damn war hero, a soldier. What do you know, pal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gold Star husband too. And they, these guys, when they started their propaganda tour against him, I was like, that's an aggressive
Is it
move
12
right there,
tours or 18 tours? I think it was 12 tours.
I think it was 11.
It was 11 of the Green Berets.
I could be wrong.
And then a bunch for the CIA, though. I think it was total 18 years, though. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and his wife got killed over there, too. And, it's like, I remember one of them said that there was a conversation about that, and someone had belittled his service, and then they talked about his, the fact that he had lost his wife in the War on Terror, and someone was like, so what? He got remarried. I'm like, what? Like, who are these people? They're aliens.
Well, no, that was Trump. Trump said, he sure got remarried fast. What a year. What do you think happens when somebody blows up your wife? You better go get one real quick, or you're gonna commit suicide.
Actually, he didn't get married after a year. I think it was like 4 years before Joe Kent got remarried. It was Thomas Massey who got married within the year. So.
All right.
Yeah. That was that's a bad comment. It's a bad comment. For sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like Frank Herbert's wife. I'm a fan of Frank Herbert, read biography about him. She was dying of heart failure, and she said, honey, go get yourself a great wife right now, or you're going to end up not eating and dying. And he went and got married like a few months after because she told him to. I mean, it's like the idea that you get married. It's like Massey, 6 months after his wife dies, gets married. What are you supposed to do? Just slit your wrist?
Yeah. No, and
Well, you don't have to, jump on bloody Grindr straight after you bury your wife either.
Hey, I've talked about this to my wife 1,000 times, and I've said it publicly just so that in the event that ever happened, I'm like, I would support one of my friends marrying my wife. Like, I would consider that one of the most, loyal things a person could do. You're going to take care of my kids after I'm gone? Like, you think I want my wife living on her own? It's like
bullshit.
Yeah, I've already vetted someone who's one of my good friends. At least I know they're solid. People are like, oh, you're going to be down with them. It's just, I don't know. I mean,
here's a story. My dad called him his uncle, but really he was his older cousin. Great combat vet, incredible guy in intelligence, all this stuff. And he had his best buddy that was a big Army armorer, and he died of cancer. And my dad's uncle's wife had just died of a brain aneurysm. She was pretty young. And he said, I'm dying. Please marry my wife. And you know what? He did. He married her and took care of her whole family. And that was the best thing a buddy could do. He asked him to do it.
That's one of the most selfless things that a person could do. And when people interpret that, I mean, obviously circumstances could make that not that, but in that situation, it's one of the most, that's the best friend that you could have.
Well, these people just haven't lived. They're not sophisticated. So expanding on that.
Let's talk about what happened yesterday at the meeting. And I heard you.
Hold on. We got some time the next hour unless you got to go. But I want to put bookends on Kirk.
Oh, no, I don't have to go.
What needs to happen now with Kirk? I mean, where do you see this going? Because nobody's buying it.
Honestly, I don't see I have no idea, because what my theory has been is that the plan was to do this. Erica was then going to be elevated. She was going to basically be the new Charlie. He would be advising her, and he'd still be running the show behind the scenes. She would be the public face. He still runs the company or the organization. And I think, and then again, this is all just hypothesis, but I think that maybe Candace had conflict with people in high places at TPUSA, which forced them to not include her in this plan. And between the two things, which is A, what if Erica can't pull off grieving wife? And B, what if Candace smells a rat? And that's like, if Candace smells a rat, she's going to burn your house to the ground. Like, she's the last person that you would ever want with a genuine motivation to bring people to justice in that situation. She's a dragon. And if you kept her on the outside of this plot and Erica's not pulling it off, so then she starts smelling a rat because she knows all of them and they're lying. At the end of the day, it's like, there are a lot of people who talk to me about this. They're like, well, why wouldn't they just start giving more public transparent answers. I'm like, because it'll look like they whacked him out. They conspired to fake whack him out. You can't come out. He's probably in the program. And so I don't know what their options would be. You know what I mean?
Well, I know Barry Jennings was deputy head of New York Emergency Management when he came on our show. He gave us an interview saying that he was in World Trade Center 7. The CIA came in. They said, we're about to blow the building up. You got to get out. They'd already detonated some bombs. And then a week later, he dies of cancer. And then we send reporters to the house. The neighbors go, no, he's still alive. They loaded up trucks, witness protection program. I mean, they do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they told
him. You know
what
my theory on Building 7 is?
Tell us.
I've said that it's super short. I think Flight 93 was supposed to hit 7. And I think that because 93 went down and then they realized they're scrambling, they're like, this thing is loaded to the gills with explosives, man. We can't leave it there or else they're going to find all the explosives. And that's why they had to pull it down. I mean, it's total hypothesis.
It is speculation, but I've heard that from a lot of experts. But if you look at the trajectory coming out of Pennsylvania, it could have been going to New York or D.C. The word was it was going to hit the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And that's why the Happy Hooligans out of the Dakotas, but were stationed in Pennsylvania then, got the order. Actually, I heard this when it happened, but it came out in FAA tapes. They put 2 AIM-9s into Flight 93. That's why it was over like a 7-8 mile range. And the engine's over here. And then there's just a little smoking hole. What do you think of that B-52 blowing up and there's nothing there? Did you see that last week?
No.
Yeah, the B-52.
My wife was trying to show that to me, and I didn't. She was literally trying to show me that for an hour, and I can't remember what I was. No, I didn't see it. What happened?
We'll show it later. I have to pull it up. I mean,
okay.
It's Flight 93. I mean, it got shot down. They do this all the time. The Russians did it during the Afghan war too. Is that you get aircraft shot down, you don't want to admit it, so you say there's accidents back in the country. That's the oldest trick of the book. Oh, training accident with a helicopter. But the B-52, there's nothing there. Look, that's the B-52 wreckage.
Oh, so you're talking for inventory, like they have to inventory the fact that they don't have the B-52 anymore, so they do this.
Yeah, and say it just blew up and all 8 died, and really, remember the Air Force came out a few months ago and said they can now shoot down any of our aircraft even at 100,000 feet, and it's because
I wonder who gave them that technology.
Our little pals over in China and Russia,
yeah.
But let's just stop there because we're running wild here, and it's a great interview. Moving on now. What do you want to tackle next? Because you got the Strait of Hormuz situation, you've got what's happening in Iran. Let's hit that now. It takes a few minutes. Then I want to get into this individual, and I've seen this, and I don't know what to say, out in Palm Beach. I think they might have staged Epstein's death. I think that's very legitimate. In fact, we'll talk about that at the time. But now, just looking at Trump in general, can he pull out of this before the midterms? What do you make of Israel trying to take over the military and Pentagon and the NDAA? What do you make of Levin saying now Trump's bullying Israel by not staying in a war that we're not winning, that the Pentagon said we wouldn't win? You've got a lot of astute things to say about that.
So yesterday, when Iran walked, after, and they said, Trump already broke the agreement because he threatened us. And then I started looking into exactly what everybody was saying. And Lindsey Graham went on Fox News and literally said verbatim what Trump had written in the post, which they were referencing in the threats. Exactly. I mean, to the word. And he said that he had talked to Trump for 4.5 hours. And, if the deal doesn't happen, then the United States is going to take over the Strait of Hormuz and we're going to start charging tolls. And we're going to whack out these guys before they even get back to Iran. And I'm looking at this going, dude, Trump already announced that the world emergency oil reserves of 4 weeks left of emergency oil reserves. Like, what are you? And if we could have just taken over the Strait of Hormuz, why would we have been making this deal all along instead of just doing that? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, it doesn't. The whole thing makes no sense.
But he said last week we can't take the Strait because they've got all these short-range missiles and artillery. And then he was quoting the Pentagon saying, no, they can hold it no matter what we do. They have 10 to 1 the amount of weapons and troops they're willing to die. And then he's back to, we'll just take it. Yeah, it's like you spin the dial, you get a different Trump every hour.
Yeah. I mean, if I said early on that like the only negotiating tactic that I could see working, given the fact that they can keep the ships from going through the strait, regardless of having a big, small, whatever military. All they have to do is threaten to hit them with drones. Is we would have to start hitting all the ships that are going to their allies. It's like a game of chicken. That's the only thing that I could see that would work, is because then all of their allies are going to put pressure on them and be like, look, you need to make a deal because we are going to starve also. But I don't know. I don't really know what they were doing with the blockade, but either way, at this point, 4 weeks of emergency oil, we just need to make the deal and just do whatever needs to get done to not, have this thing fall through.
And then Mark Levin says, we're wimps. We're not like the World War II generation. Well, it took 110,000 Marines and Navy to take, just Iwo Jima, and we lost 25,000 troops fighting 23 Japanese, 23,000. Do you understand the Pentagon said 200,000 troops to take the Strait of Hormuz? Don't you understand that, Mark Levin? Don't you understand it didn't work, you dumb son of a bitch?
Yeah, it's crazy. How many total ground troops do we have in the entire American military? I don't even know the number. We
can't even deploy 300,000 ground troops right now. Period.
Yeah. And if we do, we're going to put like, let's say we deployed 100, we're going to put a third of our total ground troops in one spot. And I mean, the whole thing, it just doesn't even make any sense. And
don't forget the Strait of Hormuz is built like an impossible scenario, the worst place to invade ever. I mean,
yeah, that's how they held it forever. If you think about it too, this has the worst possible scenario for Israel, which means that they're going to fight real hard to keep this thing going. But at the same time, if everybody runs out of emergency oil reserves, the oil prices spike. There's going to be shortages if this deal doesn't happen.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I know you know this. The oil council said $150 to $200 a barrel within 4 weeks if this continues. And then, folks,
and then it's going to get much worse.
That's a depression.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw. Was he on your show or was it on Tucker? I saw a guy say that we were going to see 36% reduction in output over the next 2-3 months, either way, as a result of what's already happened.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's already baked in for almost a year, the problems, and it just gets worse as we go. Like if they totally open today, it's baked in, big recession.
Yeah. I don't know. What would you do in terms of dealing with, our greatest ally over there? Because they painted themselves into a corner, and which makes us painted into a corner. There is no other way to interpret this that I can tell other than Iran's power in the region and the world has gone up 10x now, because they can always just threaten to shut down the strait. And the
longer we stay in,
the
better it is for them. Yeah, which the Pentagon told Trump don't do it. And Israel knew that and lied to him. And the IDF did, and they said don't do it. But the Mossad and Ben-Gvir and Netanyahu did. That's why Trump says I've lost a lot of respect for Israeli hardliners. Yeah, because you let them con you. It doesn't let you out of it. We understand you didn't start the thing. You're not the most guilty, and it's good he's trying to pull out. But I mean, that's all Trump can do. Here's what Trump can do to Israel. He's already pulled the refueling tankers. He just says that's it. He has to bite the bullet. He has to say, I'm cutting off all military aid. Tell AIPAC, you go ahead and try to primary people, and then they will come to heel at that point, or they'll stage a new 9/11. Because you've seen all these Israeli operatives saying, we need a new 9/11. And knowing Israel's history with this particular group that is chutzpah on chutzpah on chutzpah, I think Netanyahu will activate sleeper cells. They'll blow up some buildings and blame it on Iran. And I think that's why I'm inoculating the public psychologically to be ready for that.
Yeah, and that's a good move, because I think the only defense against that is to have so many people talking about it that they know that we'll see right through it. Did you see that story? I saw it on Glenn Beck's show where there was the dam in Mobile, Alabama, and they were doing random, totally unrelated
and found an underwater professional mine on it.
Yes, that would blow the dam. And they just found that by pure luck. And you're like, I wonder how many of those are positioned all around the United States that can just be, if someone gives the order. A lot, probably.
And Israel's famous for packing Trojan horses and electronics, not just pagers. Let's come back and finish up with this. And then I want to get into, where's Larry Silverstein? You think you know where he is. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are listener and viewer supported. It's very simple at thealexshowstore.com. You back us, you fund us, you are everything. And we bring you the very best products, the very best supplements, the very best water filtration systems, the widest selection of Patriot apparel, the very best knives, silver coins, you name it, so that you get a great product and empower yourself while at the same time empowering yourself and free humanity against the globalists. So, a lot of new things at thealexshowstore.com. Look at these belts. They are super comfortable. They are incredible high quality. They are so durable. They'll last a lifetime. And the way they're designed is something special. So I paid like $75 a year or so ago for a similar belt. And I told Bigley, I like this type of belt. Why don't you get these? They got belts even better than the one I bought about a year ago that I love. And they're selling them for $39 right now. That is a big discount out of the gates at thealexshowstore.com. Premium nylon tactical belt. This is the premium nylon tactical belt available now at thealexshowstore.com for only $39.99. It's built from heavy-duty nylon webbing with a smooth automatic ratchet buckle, no holes, no guessing, no too tight or too loose. You get a perfect micro-adjustable fit, whether you're working, carrying, driving, sitting at your desk, or on the move. And we've got them in 3 editions. On the buckle is a little cross, a 1776 edition, and Alex Jones signature edition, making it original and special. It's all black, tactical, clean, durable, and built for everyday use. It's murdered out. It's off black. And right now it's only $39 at thealexshowstore.com. They are premium. They look great. They have knocked it out of the park with this product. Get yours today, and also buy gifts for friends and family, and know you're funding the tip of the spear in the fight against tyranny. Also, Bigley knocked it out. Highest rating level with the carbon filters, beautiful, highest grade stainless steel for lower price than other systems that aren't even as good. We're so proud of this. The first group sold out. More coming in about a week and a half. So get your order in now to make sure it's the head of the line. Those are now available. This is platinum level, gravity-fed water filtration, and it makes this operation possible, multi-tested by top companies to take out hundreds and hundreds of bad chemicals and non-detectable levels, the atrazine, the glyphosate, all of it. You should do this for your family. Do this for yourself. It's a big 3-gallon system. It's amazing. TheAlexJonesStore.com. And then we have the widest selection of Patriot apparel. Some of the designs are the best. Some of them are okay. I'll just be honest. Some of the designs I come up with are okay. But I came up with the concepts of these new shirts. Limited edition, 250th anniversary of America, July 4th, special edition. So it's sold through the middle of June, through July, and then we're not going to sell these T-shirts anymore. They look so good, they'll probably come with another variant or something. But these are limited edition, Liberty or Death, 1776, 2026. They came up with that. I love it. The simple one I came up with, America, 250 years strong. Nice, simple, clean, kind of got like a polo look to it. Look at that one. Destroying Tyranny since 1776. Gadsden flag on the Betsy Ross flag. I came up with that design. I'm really proud of these. They're very clean. You'll meet a lot of like-minded people wearing these. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. I designed that bad boy. They designed the 1776, 250 years of freedom. Oh, I love the one they designed with the brass knuckles, 1776 free. Defund the deep state. That's all their designs. America, ride fast, live free. They designed that. Ball caps as well, all limited edition. TheAlexJonesStore.com. And it keeps us on the air. Take action now. Big Brother hates it when you fund the tip of the spear. We'll be back. Stay with us. All right, I want to finish up with Israel because after our guest leaves us, I'm going back into Israel and 9/11 because they're saying, how dare you say we had a motive? How dare you say we were involved? Oh, come on. Take 10 hours to go into the evidence. We'll hit some of it here today. But finishing up, you also sent me some clips of British Colonel Richard Kemp at this big Jewish conference last weekend that Mark Levin and Netanyahu were at. And at the same conference, the Israeli ambassador to the U.S., and I said that on purpose, Huckabee says, I'd rather live in Israel than the U.S., and I think Trump may fire me any day. So they're really, and you got Levin saying, Trump, how dare you bully Israel, the arrogance of that. But here's Richard Kemp saying he's happy to be a goy, which means, I guess, a cattle or a subhuman servant. And then I have at the World Jewish Conference another billionaire saying the same thing. So this is this new thing they're doing. And I don't want to be on the Israel beat. I don't want to be attacking Israel. I know this isn't all the views.
Me neither.
But, I mean, Israel's really gone on crazy town megalomania behavior. Here's a clip.
I speak as a goy, a mere goy. The Jews were put on the face of the earth to be a light unto nations. And Israel is being that light in defense of its own country. And I think most particularly, not just in military technology, but in the way in which those extraordinary men and women of the IDF have shown the world how to fight. And many countries in Western Europe, which are going to face this violence, will be looking to Israel to see how they're going to fight. So the narrative is one thing, but action, I think, is even more important.
Why should Zionism be an idea and a goal that only Jews can embrace? I'm a goy, and I'm a Zionist. With all my heart, out of conviction, and with passion. First, we need a zero-tolerance policy towards open hatred of Jews. All anti-Semites, in word and deed, regardless of their origin, must be expelled wherever legally possible. British politician and Conservative Party leader Kami Badenoch put it clearly and courageously, I quote, anything that's inciting violence against Jews has got to go, quote end. We need this statement and its consequences not only in Britain, but in
that's
every
the CEO of Axel Springer, a billionaire. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing. He says we got to censor everybody, silence everybody. They have the head of the World Jewish Conference a month ago saying, we're losing. We spent billions of dollars propagandizing the Americans and they hate us more because you're out in the open trying to run things and running things and primarying people and then saying, you're bullying us. How dare you? Where do you see this ending? Where do you see an off-ramp for Israel? I think Trump should back Netanyahu's opposition. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, like, I have nothing but love for everybody. Everybody. I got no conflict with anyone except for when specific decisions and actions that are being taken are clearly in opposition to positive outcomes for the United States. And, and obviously if they cross over into, barbaric behavior that's hurting women and children. And so but that thing about the I'm just a goy thing is just so, I just thought it's so bizarre. Who would open a speech like that? And it's like, just be normal, man. Like, is that required of you to speak in that environment? You have to say something like that. It's super weird. But if that represents an ideology that leads to, why they behave the way that they do, that could explain a lot of it. But
let's say what it is. Let's say what it is. This is public bootlicking. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. Absolutely. And, it's no different than that you want to talk about the woke Reich, where they're like, oh, the woke Reich. It's like, that is nearly identical. They have the same exact tactics as the far left did during the 2020, all the Black Lives Matter stuff. It's all the same. They call them names. They make people come out and act like that. They got the FBI agents all take a knee back then. It's just, it's like, you would think that they would have been paying attention during COVID and recognize like this does not work anymore. This is the opposite of effective. It is going to be a huge negative effect on whatever you're trying to do. It doesn't work. Everybody recognizes it instantly. It's bad for business.
I've been on air 32 years. Pictures and you go to a website and click on things and it wasn't much news on the internet. You couldn't really find news. It was mainly just little, silly pictures and you go to a website and click on things and a parrot would talk to you. It was just, but as it developed, people would always ask me, well, who are you paid by? What agenda are you on? And that's because I learned most talk shows back at the time were bought and paid for. There was a lot of control who could get on air and what was happening. I kind of showed up right when the internet was finally getting more ubiquitous. So I was able to break out kind of under the radar. But so when you see all these different influencers, a lot of other people, they are part of a camp or they're controlled by their sponsors, but there are more and more people who aren't. And I think that's people like Jesse on Fire, and that's really scaring the system. And we're not right wing, we're not left wing. I mean, I'm a populist in modern parlance. You can say conservative, but I'm more of a Thomas Jefferson guy who's a classical liberal. These terms really don't mean anything. Are you for more human freedom and liberty or less? Are you pro-team humanity or pro-globalist? And I've always tried to cover all the big power structures and groups trying to take American liberty, like the Communist Chinese, big tech. Israel's always been there trying to control our foreign policy. The leftist Jewish lobby trying to censor, but there was other groups doing it. But now, in closing on Israel, I want to move this other topic, it really is in the Defense Authorization Act to integrate and merge and be given all of our intelligence and all of our weapons and profit from it as if it co-owns us. I mean, it's a merger. It's a marriage. It's an integration. It's a fusion. These are terms they use. And then experts have looked at it and said, no, that's what it does. And the Senate Intelligence Bill copies it. They've got 15 bills that do this. That's an attempted coup. And Netanyahu says that's his answer to Congress wanting to cut the money and then primarying people. And so I was asking, you got cut off by the break and I was interrupting with something you were previously saying, but what is Israel's off-ramp? Because I want to be clear, you've got all the former Mossad chiefs, most of their top generals, they're on Israeli TV saying, look, this will destroy Israel in the end. If you think out, they're going to take Lebanon, they're going to attack Turkey, they want to go out. It's like a fat person at a buffet who orders like 20 plates. You might eat 10 plates, you can't eat 30. And if you're a person who understands geopolitics, military, and you listen to even the other experts, they're saying this is a disaster. Now, Trump knows he got bravadoed and chutzpah'd into this. That's admitted. Now he's pissing. He lost respect for Netanyahu and people. Okay, then, get on the off-ramp. So how, but leaving Trump out of it, and then back to Trump, how does Israel off-ramp this? Is there any hope of that? And how does Trump off-ramp it in closing? And then we'll move to the last topic.
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, the reason I never spoke about this region until the Iran war was because I don't like talking about things where I don't feel like I have like a full throttle, 360-degree understanding of a topic. And over there, I'm like, I don't know enough to talk about this. It was only when Trump got us into the Iran war, like that was it. All through the Epstein stuff, I was very, very consistent that I'm like, I don't think Trump is dirty on Epstein in the way that they are saying that he is. I don't see it. That you have the attorney who represented the 234 victims in the 2004 case, and all of them said Trump was if they even interacted with him, that he was a gentleman and kind to them and had no, his hands weren't dirty at all. The lawyer confirmed that. And so I'm like, what? He just didn't touch any of these ones when he was best friends with them. He's doing other stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me. But as soon as he attacked Iran, that's when I went rip and did a complete and total flip, because that was as crystal clear as you could possibly be. That was the core foreign policy promise, no foreign wars, and you attacked Iran. And so then you have to start looking around. You're like, why did he do this?
And it turns out it's confirmed he was never even briefed on the Strait of Hormuz, which I saw you, even before the war started, saying Strait of Hormuz will be closed, which everyone knew. He didn't even have the basic understanding.
And you got to ask, how is that even possible? How does that happen? And as soon as they closed the strait, I remember instantaneously having a conversation with someone a lot smarter than me. And I'm like, this is checkmate, right? And he's like, yeah, it's checkmate. I mean, you knew immediately. It's like, this is checkmate. There's how are we going to solve this problem without boots on the ground, which has always been a huge, red line. I mean, I guess the attack in the first place was a red line, but boots on the ground is a real red line.
It's the red line because the Pentagon said next it'll be ground troops, Strait of Hormuz. They told him, he told Tucker last time they talked about 3 weeks in, he goes, don't worry, it always ends up okay, anything I do. Well, it's not, by the way, Tucker's on tomorrow, 1 p.m. It's not ending. It's not ending the way Netanyahu told him. And Netanyahu knew they were suckering us into full quagmire regime change. They knew it was going to cause a world economic problem, but Israel pig-headedly didn't care.
Yep. And one thing I could say is that when Trump gets into a position where people are being critical of him, he starts to kind of spaz out and he starts saying things that he shouldn't very, very quickly. Like, example, where they're calling him a pussy. So he says, well, listen, I had no choice. We only have 4 weeks of emergency global oil reserves. And you're like, why would you have told Iran that? Why would you tell them that? Now they have like the leverage now they know you have no choice. They can do whatever they want. The other thing that he did early on that was similar to that was when Japan and the United States were at that summit, and the Japan chancellor, whatever, was like, why didn't you tell us? Or I'm sorry, the journalist was like, why didn't you tell Japan that you were thinking about doing this? And he's like, why didn't you tell us that you were going to do Pearl Harbor? And I was like, dude, that's our ally that's 97% reliant on Middle Eastern oil. How do you think that's going to translate into Japanese in the newspapers? And it was like his poll went down like, I don't know, 1,000,000% instantaneously. It's like, this is dumb. It's just a dumb thing to say.
And for those that don't know, the Japanese, particularly with face saving, they've always said we're the boss, basically did whatever we said, because into their system, we beat them, so they had to sit there and go along with it. But then you don't rub it in 80 years later. They took that as a rub it in, not as a little cutesy joke about, you snuck attack us, and, plus he's saying, and I committed the crime you did, ha, 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 which was also dishonorable, and they just don't even know how to interface with it. They don't even know how to deal with it. But what about the other statements? Are you concerned about the pain American households are feeling? No, I don't think about anybody's pain, any individual American's pain. I only think about war. We're in a war now. Or I don't care about Medicare and Medicaid or health care or child care. We're in a war. Or, sir, what about inflation? It's really high. I love inflation. He acts more and more like a baby.
Yep. And those kind of comments too, you just got to ask yourself, it's like the media has done such a good job about making, things like Medicaid, Medicare about, some kind of political partisan divide, where if you are not in one of these camps, this is just common sense. You're like, how much are we spending to go and destroy infrastructure and things over there? And we're complaining about what was the cost that I was reading about? That's this huge line item that we need to cut to give poor people basic health care. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, exactly. And just the inflation
and
is killing the recovery. It's costing us in the aggregate trillions. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then we're talking about tens of billions shortfall here. And look, we do have to change it. We do have to innovate. We do have to cut some things. But you don't, right before midterm, go, screw your Medicare and Medicaid. And I don't care if you're in pain. I mean, it's like if the DNC was sitting around and saying, if we could mind control Trump, what would we have him say to make them lose? Have him start a war with Iran, destroy the economy, say he doesn't care about the average American's economic peril, say you love inflation, and say you don't care about Medicare and Medicaid.
And then throw in there that if you care about the Epstein crime, then I don't want you as a supporter. That's exactly. A good one.
And Epstein's a hoax.
And it's a Democrat hoax. Yep.
And then,
ludicrous.
And then you and I are supposed to then, who've been Trump supporters in the past, better than Democrats, we're the traitors, Qatari agents, because we're saying this is a horrible idea. But we're vindicated now. But the Trump worshipers, maybe 30% of his base that's left, they don't care. They think if they just agree with him, that it's magic, it's like Q stuff, and everything's going to be okay. It's not okay.
No. And any time that I'm soft on my critique compared to lots of other people, I just go, why? Like, perfect example, when I said, why would you have said that we only have 4 weeks of emergency global oil reserves into a microphone at G7? There is no 4D chess here. That's just an absolute political, strategic, negotiating blunder of epic, historic proportions. And
it's like saying in the last...
that's just what it is.
It's like at the end of a poker game and saying, I don't have any cards.
Yeah, here I'm all in and I got nothing.
I think they call that.
That's 3D chess, bro. You didn't know that?
Yeah. Yep. And then coming over the top with that, hey, if they don't sign, then we're just going to invade the Strait of Hormuz. Right. All in, have nothing, and then you just show them your cards face up. You're like, go ahead, call if you want. Just makes no sense. Makes no sense.
But here's the deal. He's 80 years old. He doesn't sleep. And I don't want to say he's got dementia, but it's out of control. And what is your prognosis for the midterms? Because that's why I'm so mad. I want Trump to succeed. So we got Trump over here kind of flailing around. He's like a light bulb going out. It kind of brightens for a minute, and then it goes out, and it gets even brighter. So I'm like, oh, look, it's bright. Oh, it's dark. And meanwhile,
my mum's 84 years old, and just recently, because she's in hospital again because she fractured the other side of her pelvis. But mentally, when she was at home in recovery for the first fracture, she actually did this cognitive test, and she got 30 out of 30. And I think I mentioned this on my previous shows. She got 30 out of 30, and it like astounded me. It astounded the lady that gave her the test, and it also astounded me because some of the things that they were asking, I actually had to think for a minute to give the answer. But she was right on there. So I'm sorry, Alex. That's just another one that you can scratch off the list. I don't think he's got dementia or Alzheimer's or anything. He may have some sort of weird insect inside of his body if he had all of them vaccinations like he says he did, but I don't think he's got dementia. I think he says stupid things.
The Democrats are like, we're in a big tank, and there's a wall with another tank of starving piranhas on the other side, and I'm sitting there, Trump's outside the tank, and he can open it up. It's locked. Like, please let me out of the tank. Knock, 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 knock. He's like, no, not let you out of the tank. And then I'm watching the clock, and the piranha gate's going to open, and we're all going to get eaten. I mean, that's how I see Trump.
That's exactly how I feel. Because there is no scenario under any circumstances that I would vote for the DNC candidates. Like what's his name? In New York, oh my God, whatever his name is. Mondani. They passed a law in New York that it was another one of these like woke like gender things. They just did it, and you're like, what are they?
Yeah, they're going bankrupt, and he hundreds of millions of dollars to cut penises off.
Yeah, and then you got 5 minutes ago, in my mind, I was locked in my house, and I had people telling my kids they had to put masks on, or else they couldn't go to school, and they had to take shots. We left. That's why we live in Texas. We left California because they took our kids' medical exemptions away on their vaccines because my oldest had been injured, and both my wife and I had we went through all this genetic testing, and they literally made our legal medical exemptions illegal all at once. Every single person.
That's right. When you have a doctor saying anybody damaged by a vaccine, they'll take it, never take one again. I know people this happened to. I didn't know it happened to you. You're like, I have a medical doctor saying don't do it. They're like, screw you. We own your body.
Yeah. Your kids have to take all 50 of these or else they can't go to school, private school, public school, whatever. So we just bounced.
Well, that's why so many people, I use Cat Turd is on X. People aren't on X to know who he is. He just worships anything Trump says. Every mistake is godlike. Everybody that's right is wrong. I think people like that are just starstruck, and they just know Trump's better than Democrats, so they just think cheerleading will make him succeed. No, you have to get on his ass to keep Mark Levin and them from controlling his brain. So now Trump sounds just like you and I. The strait's closed. We got to end it. Lost a lot of faith for the Israel hardliners. They were wrong. We got to off-ramp. Israel better start appreciating us. We're the only ones saving you. That's what I've been saying. And then do I get an apology? And I'm not singling him out, but just Cat Turd's kind of the gold standard of idiocy. Do I get an apology from him that your Lord and Savior now sounds just like me, Cat Turd? No, I don't. I was trying to save your Lord and Savior. I was trying to get your Lord and Savior to stop it.
Yeah, you get to differentiate at least between the MAGA loyalists who are going to back Trump all the time or the make-believe ones that are going to back Israel all the time. Now you can figure out who's who at least. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. Anybody now for this war is openly Israeli operative.
Crimes against humanity.
Yeah. Which we know they've spent $500 million last year. They just earmarked a month ago $768 million more for paying influencers. So when you see this mindless crap and, people, arrest anyone that criticizes AIPAC, that Laura Loomer, or censor everybody. I mean, come on, Laura. Laura's like, I don't work for Israel. Mark Levin, I don't work for Israel. Bull crap, bro. What do you make of that?
Same. I mean, it's obvious. And again, it's easy to identify now because there is, especially, again, the 4 weeks of oil reserves. As soon as he says that at G7, you are like, there is no conversation here. Israel needs to stop bombing Lebanon now, obviously, so that we can get this deal done. And if you are saying something different, explain yourself. Why is that figure that he just announced not so overwhelmingly concerning to you that it trumps every other possible consideration?
I agree. Here's another analogy. Let's say you're in round 3 UFC and you get knocked down, ding, 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 the bell, but the referee doesn't know that the guy hit you and suddenly you've gone blind. Let's just say for concussion.
For something.
And you don't tell your corner you've gone blind, you're going to get back up and get hurt even worse. But Trump essentially went over to the referee and said, I can't see. I've got, but didn't say I tap out. Doesn't matter. You tell the rep, I can't see. He's going to go, that's it. Call the fight. Saying, we're out of oil. They win. which they already know that. But the point is, why would you say it? I know why you go back to this. It's so crazy. It's fundamentally the opposite of good strategy.
Yeah. It's like negotiating 101. This would be like they could write an entire chapter in a book using this is the example of how to, in the art of war, if you're weak, you act strong. And if you're strong, if you want to potentially trap them when you're strong, you act weak. But, when you're weak, which we are because we're about to run out of oil, you don't tell everyone in the world that we are as weak as we've ever been because you can't run society at all without oil. And we only have we're going to run out in 4 weeks. It's like 4 weeks.
Okay, so didn't he just answer his own question? Like, didn't he just answer the reason that Trump might have given the impression that we're going to run out of petrol in 4 weeks? Isn't that possible that he might have a strategy in mind, pretending that he's weaker than he actually is to put them off guard? Like, you just said it. Like, seriously, you just fucking said it. I just don't know anymore.
Well, it's like they have books about how to win friends and influence people. This new book Trump's writing is The Art of the Deal. It's the art of destroying yourself and your country very quickly.
Yeah. We got to get the deal
done.
All
right, let's just you think? I mean, like,
I was going to say, I saw something before I came on, though, that
the country,
it sounds, again, this
did
come from a very
hopeful.
heavily MAGA-positive X account, but they did say that J.D. Vance had just gotten Iran to agree that part of the funds that were going to get released to them was now going to be able to be spent on American farm products. So, like, they were going to be buying food from us.
Oh, yeah, and also,
if that's accurate, that's like worst case scenario for Israel. The worst case for Israel would be us having a good relationship with Iran out of this.
No,
thing.
I agree. And Iran has confirmed they're saying they will take inspectors that they're not going to enrich to weapons grade. So that's another big announcement. All right, let's look at this. People can't stop debating these comparisons. Jesse on Fire on X. And I've seen this guy for a month. They say he's Jeffrey Epstein. He looks about 95% like him. You look at the teeth and think it's him. What would the point be of him parading around in Palm Beach? Tell us about this guy.
Honestly, I mean, when I looked at so I saw that there's all kinds of stuff out on him, and I just wasn't even paying attention. And I saw the TikTok where the person had the comparison of the teeth, and I looked at the lower teeth, and I looked at it. I'm like, okay, well, I can't verify that this is actually Palm Beach Pete's teeth and that this is actually Jeffrey Epstein's teeth. So I didn't think a lot about it. But then I had someone who I know personally who went to the Aiden Ross fight. Aiden Ross put on that big fight where Menery fought against Johnny Manziel. And he spent a very long time with Palm Beach Pete off camera. And he was like, listen, dude, he's like, I'm telling you, he's not even hiding the ball. It's him. And I was like, really? He's like, he wanted me to know. And he told me some specific stories. I'm not going to out the guy. But when he said that, I was like, I'm like, okay, so let me actually take a look at this then, because I know this guy. And so I then went and sourced the two pictures, and since Palm Beach Pete had the teeth comparison go viral, since then he has done like a dozen posts where he gives an absolutely perfect view of his bottom teeth on purpose. And the very first one that he did was he puts himself in a dentist chair. He's all, hey guys, where in the world is Palm Beach Pete? I'm here getting my teeth fixed so no one compares my teeth to that really bad guy. You know who I'm talking about. So I went into some of the public, Epstein pictures. It's very hard to find a photograph of Epstein's bottom teeth, but there's one, and I found it. And I found it in like a .org, like that's the picture, the one on the left.
Okay, so I'm just going to, they're talking about Epstein now, and I'm just going to, pop in and say, I don't believe this guy's Epstein. He might be alive. He might be alive. He's got the money. He's got the ability. There's a whole website dedicated to the possibility that he could be alive, and there's some very telling evidence on that website, which we might get into at a later date. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I just don't believe that Palm Beach Pete is Jeffrey Epstein with plastic surgery, because it's bad plastic surgery for a start. And like, if somebody changed me from Epstein to that, I would be furious. I would be absolutely fucking furious. Like, seriously, turn me into James Bond or something like that. Don't turn me into this guy. Like, really? Really? That's how you want to go to your grave? That little cheeky babe's going to come after you. I mean, those ones that you see in these pictures that you're going to see, like, they're obviously paid to do what they're doing. They're knowing what they're doing. They're not being, well, one hopes they're not being sexually abused. But, like, this is a show. Palm Beach Pete is making money off of this. And he's trolling everybody. He's just trolling everybody, including these guys.
And when you look, the only, he's had him shaved down, but if you just look at the numbers, it's like number one is forward on both of them. Number two is back on both of them. The two in the middle, it looks like he's had some Invisalign, and those are improved a little bit. But then the other ones, they are identical, forward and back. And then I was like, I wonder if anybody's looked at his ears, because that's how you knew the corpse was not him, from the original announcement, like, oh, here's Epstein's corpse. And you look at the ear, they're like, okay, that's not him. And so when I looked and I did research on what can be changed with plastic surgery and what can't, and the center part, the cartilage structures are that you can't change those, but you can change the outside. So I looked at the cartilage structures and I was like, holy shit, it's the same. And so, I looked at that, and then someone sent me another thing, which had him, there was he kind of he showed the same stutter in an interview as Palm Beach Pete, and another one as in one of his depositions as Jeffrey Epstein. And then another guy showed me that he had, emails where his assistant was setting up appointments with a very prominent plastic surgeon in New York. And I'm like, holy shit, it's like, this is really him. And, now when I look at his content, it's like he knew, he got a nose job, obviously, and probably lost about 15 pounds. That's like, that literally is, and, he's had a little bit of adjustment to his teeth. And I'm marveled by that if it is him, that he knew that no one mainstream would take it seriously no matter what you pointed at. It's unbelievable, because I look and I'm like, oh my God, it's like, this is really him. And then when I look at his posts, I'm not going to lie, I laugh every single time, because he's so overtly trolling people who have figured it out that it's hilarious.
Well, there were also photos months after he died of a guy from a drone getting out of an ATVs, and it looks just like Silver.
Yeah, that guy looks
looks just like Epstein.
100%.
Yep.
He looked like Jeffrey Epstein. But when was that drone picture
There's another.
taken?
I think I saw another one at Zorro too, like the same type of thing, where there's a picture. And I think he's got his arms crossed on the Zorro one, and then I think the one on the island, he pops his head up. But I don't know. I mean, listen, I did it, and I mean, I put that whole thing together, put it out, and I thought that was like, I thought it was a headshot. I was looking, to me, I'm like, this is a wrap. And I've showed it to a lot of really smart people. They're all, I don't know. There's some people who are really smart, and they're like, oh yeah, that's him for sure. But I don't know. A lot of people are still not.
Well, let me back you up here.
I mean, there's no way to know for sure.
Let me back you up here, and if you can stay, if you got to go, understand. But I'm going to play these clips.
Yeah. No, we're good.
Remember that on 4chan and 8chan, they had a whistleblower.
Yep. That
came out like 45 minutes before it was announced anywhere that Epstein had killed himself, but he didn't really kill himself, and that they brought him out the back and brought another body out the front. All that matched later.
Yep.
And then you start adding everything else to it. And he was telling everybody, I'm getting out of here soon.
And all of that did match.
And that's the type of witness protection program they do for a CIA Mossad operative. He was actually the head of the Trial Commission, it turned out. Ford David Rockefeller is his stand-in. That's in the document. It was more powerful than I thought.
Orchestrated by
and so Trump wants it all shut down.
Prisons, or whatever you call it.
And so then you have Hillary Rodham Clinton's brother that looked just like Epstein died a few weeks before. He's a spitting image of the body they wheel out. You start adding all this together. It's definitely not Epstein there. They didn't know somebody would get a snapshot of him, of the body. And so you add all that to this, and then all of a sudden Kash Patel and Bongino, that had always covered what we're covering, that clearly he didn't kill himself, put out videos saying it's all there. And first it's a minute missing, then 10 minutes missing, and then it's all doctored. Stay there. I want to talk about this. We know there's a cover-up. And then it turns out Trump wants to cover up a Butler right to the top. And Tucker can confirm all that. He's on tomorrow. Because I was at Tucker's house whenever he was getting these calls about stuff. He told me some of it off record, but now he's gone public. I talk about it. And just remember, my source was not Joe Kent about that cabinet meeting about Kash Patel saying don't look at foreign involvement in Charlie Kirk. It was other folks.
I never heard that he was. I just heard that was just a rumor that I had.
No, I'm not
heard
saying
on
you're
the
wrong.
internet.
I'm not saying he couldn't have been sourced from somebody else. I'm just saying I had other sources. We have the 250 to Shedition Concept 26, where the freedom, and I get I know a lot of you tuned in because I said in the fourth hour today I was going to get into Israel and 9/11. But here's what happened. When I started the show, I almost tabled it till tomorrow because I got a huge stack of evidence. But it's people think this is the deepest dive ever. People always cover like one aspect. Ooh, breaking! It's the biggest thing ever. I was covering it back when it all happened. I've been reviewing my books, my films, getting more clips, and the researcher here that knows as much as I do, Thomas, works like 6 days a week. He's out Mondays. I got in this morning. He's like, hey, where's Thomas? I want the file on that. And I'm like, oh, he's not here today. And I'm like, well, I'm still going to cover it. And I'm like, maybe I won't. Now that this guest, we're covering all these important issues. And don't worry, talk about Israel a lot. We're not covering up for them. That tomorrow, I promise 1 hour on this. 1 hour. In fact, check the schedule with guests, probably fourth hour again. And I will do an entire hour on with even more. It's like that old ad in the 70s that we will sell no wine until it's time. When I get over this, the problem is I'll start researching and find even more and remember even more. And then I may do 2 hours on it tomorrow. I don't know if you want to listen to that. But I will get to it tomorrow, okay? It will happen. It will happen. But continuing with the Mossad operative, Jeffrey Epstein, also CIA, the biggest takeaway, well, there's so much in the Epstein files, is they're talking about eating people. They're talking about the sex slaves are at the hotel. I mean, it's there. It's going on. The human cloning, the genetic engineering, Zorro Ranch, underground base there. That's all confirmed. Snorkels up at the top. Massive cover-up going on. And then you've got this guy that looks, got 95% like Epstein in Palm Beach. And I'm not saying it's Epstein, but I do think things lean towards him staging his death and then them just doing some cosmetic surgery on it and things. Do we know Jesse on Fire, that people can find on X at Real Jesse on Fire, Instagram Real Jesse on Fire, X at Real Jesse on Fire, and YouTube Jesse on Fire. Do we know who first reported on Palm Beach Pete? Like, when did he first service? I think that's important.
So he popped up because someone was just driving next to him, supposedly, and they filmed him driving in his car, and then he, and it went viral. Like, hey, is this Pete? It's like, I mean, you're talking like a few months ago, but if you want a perfect example of what I'm talking about him trolling everyone once, I mean, this is well after everybody's been talking about it being him. Play that clavicular clip with sound. It's super quick. It's like 15 seconds. But that one where my shout out to clavicular, play that with sound. Super quick.
Let me show you the clips. I've got you on the teeth. Oh, sorry, I was eating a piece of sandwich.
The one I'm talking about is number 6.
Okay, here's a clip.
Hey everybody, listen up. It's Palm Beach Pete here. Clav, I'm a big supporter of facial reconstruction, and you're getting a lot of shade on the internet, and that's not right. You continue doing you. I'm a big supporter. Peace out, Palm Beach Pete.
So
I can't help but laugh every single time, dude. It's just so like my wife, every time that she watches it, she laughs, and she's like, yeah, but I'm not convinced it's him. I'm like, the whole reason it's funny is if it really is him. It's hilarious. Like he's that confident that nothing comes of any of this, that he can just throw that on the internet in everyone's face and then run for mayor.
Or maybe he's just a good sport. I mean, I've said that I'm Bill Hicks. I've had probably 20 times now. I'll be at a restaurant. Barton Springs was the last time it happened. And I'm sitting there with my...
look, it's possible, but if you look, if you put their faces side by side, look at their chins. Look at their chins. Because like a nose job changes a person's face so drastically that it's kind of it's a gigantic change.
Have we done this? Have you compared his legs? Because there's shots of Epstein in shorts. Hey guys, back that up to where he's walking, and let's find a shot of Epstein in shorts. We need to look at the legs, but go ahead and play clip 64.
He definitely lost weight. If it is him, he's lost a lot of weight. But the other thing too is I very intentionally do not even. I've never done a lick.
Pause it here, and if you want to go watch the rest, you can go to alexjones.com or the Alex Jones Network, or you can go to Alex Jones Live on Rumble and Alex Jones Live on X, or Real Alex Jones on X. You can go see the last, I don't know, whatever it is, 25 minutes or 30 minutes of the video. But like, we're gonna get into my evaluation of the video now. So I got a few things to go through. So first of all, let's just start. We're at the very beginning with Charlie's death, and we faked his death. And like I said at the beginning of the show, when they started talking about it, why in God's green earth would Charlie have the need to kill himself to protect himself from an oncoming jail sentence if Trump had just won the election? Charlie was killed in September. He was killed the day before 9/11, right? So he was killed on the 10th of September. Donald Trump was inaugurated on the 20th of January. So January's a wipe. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. He's 8 months into his first year of his second term. Why is Charlie killing himself over some innocuous freaking court case that nobody's ever heard about? We all heard about the Israel stuff. Yes, we did. And, there's plausibility there. I can't deny that there's plausibility, because Israel have given themselves a bad name. Even Trump has admitted that Israel has given themselves a bad name. I mean, look, I think I went over the road mic, lavalier mic explosion in well enough to at least put that to rest. And again, I'm going to say I'm no fucking expert here. Excuse me. No expert here, but like, I've worked with these microphones for a long time. Since I've been doing this, I've had my Rode kit since pretty much early on in the very beginning, and I've had no issues. I've had no issues except for the one interview that I was doing in Butler that was so freaking like detrimental. When I was interviewing a lady in Butler, the damn thing went flat on me and I got no fucking voice to the video. So you will never see that video of the lady that I interviewed for 20 minutes, because it's just two mouths talking and you won't hear a word. But the microphone didn't explode on me. I didn't suffer any cardiac arrests or anything like that. No blood came spurting out of my neck. It just went flat. And as I said, if mine was actually clipped onto me, no, it wasn't. I had it in my hand and I was sharing it between myself and the lady. So, I've been using these things for a while. So I hope, Alex, if maybe you'll retweet my stuff. You keep saying that you want to have a big network and you want to have people that have all these different opinions. Well, here's mine. Share it. 38.6. Again, a lot of people have their doubts about the 30.06. I have my doubts too, on the basis of what I've heard and read and researched about the Mauser and the ammunition and blah, blah, blah. But again, I say, different situation. You cannot, it's a situation that you cannot replicate, no matter how hard you try, and no matter with what animal or gel casing or fake bone structure you use, you cannot replicate what happened to Charlie that day. The blood thing is definitely out the window. Alex, you have to at least you have to agree with me on that one, because I pointed out the freaking blood everywhere. Like, who's got video? Who's got the video of the blood drops to the car? Who's got that? If somebody's got it, show it. Satisfy these freaks that are saying that there was no blood. Like, seriously, get a life if that's what you think, there was no blood. Where's all the blood? Mate, it's spilling out of his body. That's where it is. You get like, it's disgusting, really, when you think about it, that they're actually disputing that no blood came out of his body or that it was some sort of squib. There's no squib in the world that spurts out that much blood. And you're right, not without Charlie knowing that it's there. And I doubt very much that he was planning, as I said, his own demise. Erica's acting, Erica's behaviour. Okay, she may have some. I've heard a few things. I've shamefully had to. I've listened to, not so much listened to Candace's shows, but I've listened to other shows that are talking about the stuff that Candace was talking about. There's some other programs that point to her having dealings in Romania, was in the Epstein files and stuff like that. Now, that aside, what do these people expect when they're saying things like, Erica is acting, the crew is not in mourning, no one is sad? What do they expect from people that are on live television, going live internationally after this incident occurred? Do you think every eye in the universe wasn't on the Charlie Kirk show when they first went back to air? I don't think so. I think you'll probably find that the combined views of all of that episode of the Charlie Kirk show is bigger than anything that you could imagine. So, you can always check that out. You can go to the YouTube channels. You can go to the Charlie Kirk channel. You can go to the Rab channel. You can go to the Rumble channel. There's like so many people played that stuff. Played it. I played it. I was playing it. I played the first episode back. I played Erica's speech. I covered all of that on my show. No one's sad. Has anybody ever been to a funeral? Has anyone ever been in a hospital or a nursing home where you're standing around the dead family member? Literally, my uncle I'm talking about was dead right there on the bed, and all of his family were there. He was dead. Okay, we were waiting for the funeral directors to come and pick up his body because he didn't need to be autopsied or anything. We knew why he died. He passed away peacefully. We were there with him sadly, we were there just after he passed away because we didn't get there in time, which is going to be something that haunts me for the rest of my life. Little do anybody know the reason why, but we were actually sitting there, all of us. There was probably, me, Mum. There was probably about 8 to 10 of us in that room that night. They had moved out the other patient or resident. They moved him out of the room for the night because they knew that we would be sort of occupying it and they didn't want us to disturb him as we were waiting for the funeral parlour to come and pick up my uncle's deceased body. And heartless you might think this is, but we were actually planning a holiday at the time. And it turned out that holiday just simply ended up being a dedication to my deceased uncle. But yes, we were sitting around telling jokes, like saying things that we would say, oh my God, imagine if Uncle Fred heard us right now. He'd be like telling us off. He'd be yelling at us, telling us we're this and we're that, because this is life and death. What follows life is death. We all know that. The very young know it. The very old know it. To say that being happy or laughing or joking or even planning an overseas holiday at the time of somebody's death means that you are not mourning them or you are not caring about them or you somehow are involved in their death, then you are just a fucking nut job. I'm sorry, Alex, if that's you, but you are just a crazy, loopy nut job. That goes for the Alexes, the Candace Owenses, the Milo fucking Yiannopoulos of the world. Who the fuck would be stupid enough to take anything that comes out of Milo Yiannopoulos' mouth as virtue, like as truth? Like, more fool you if you do. Because Milo Yiannopoulos is nothing but a complete sham artist. He's a grifter, he's a liar, and if he can get his tentacles into you and make some money, he fucking will. I'm not saying this out of personal experience from him, but I am saying this out of knowing his history. Look at what he's done. Look at the things he's done. Oh, I'm gay. Oh, I'm not gay. Oh, I'm gay again. Oh, I'm not gay again. Like, come on, please. And Candace Owens is like feeding him information. Like, really? Next you'll be believing that him and Laura Loomer are sleeping together. Like, and if you believe that, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. Because those two can't stand each other's breath, let alone be in the same room together. This is what I mean. You lose integrity when you purport that there's a possibility that these things are even in the realm of truth or possibility of truth. Because, like, the what does Dr. Phil say? Past behaviour is a great predictor of future behaviour. So what was Milo Yiannopoulos' past behaviour? Grifting, stealing, lying. Okay, now what's his future behaviour more likely to be? Truth, honesty and virtue? He's changed. He's been touched by the saintly hands of God, and his life is nothing but based on truth and virtue forever and ever. Give me a break. You wouldn't see him anymore if that was what Milo Yiannopoulos was about. You wouldn't see his face on television anymore if Milo Yiannopoulos was going to retire into a corner and become a fucking priest. Which in this day and age, and with his reputation, he could probably find a nice little niche church somewhere to fit into. Let's get real about this shit. I mean, they're not sad. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to wail and snot all over the microphone? Is that what you're expecting them to do? They are professional, they are human, and they had a job to do. They know that Charlie would have wanted them to continue doing that job, regardless of the effects. Look, there's talk about the so-called interview where Charlie said, if I die, I nominate Erica to take over my... I'm pretty sure I actually remember hearing that. And I used to listen to Charlie a lot, because I was losing faith in a lot of other people. So I turned to Charlie for a lot of my stuff. I have the proof that Charlie was important enough for me to travel internationally to Amfest twice to be a part of his convention. Charlie was a very smart, intelligent, non-college entrepreneur. He built a business on faith and democracy. How many of you people out there can say that you've done anything near what Charlie achieved in his 32 years of life? Hands up. I'm not putting my hand up, because I certainly haven't achieved anything near what Charlie's achieved. And I've had a business with a turnover of $2 million once, many years ago. you know, that you know, you want them crying, you want to see their grief. What sort of a narcissist are you? I mean, fuck. You want to see them upset and crying and bawling at their worst moments, their lowest times in their life? Depraved fucking gawkers is what you are. Because I certainly don't want to see that. And anybody that thinks that there is no joy after death, you don't know anything about faith. Because when somebody that you love dies and you have faith in God, that person has gone to be with God, you know that person is safe. Why should you be sad? Why would you be sad when you know that person has gone to the safest place in the world, in the universe? So, you know, stay away from Marlo, stay away from Candace, stay away from this guy. Jesse on fire. Jesse's on fire, all right. I mean, crazy eyes and her history in Romania and Epstein files and all of that. Now, the TikTok videos, there's something else. The TikTok videos that were clearly seen by me and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of others, of people going on TikTok or going on their social media and saying, yo, Charlie's going to get killed tomorrow, or something's going to happen. You wait till he gets to Ohio. Eyes on Utah. Eyes on Utah. All of that. I saw them. And the fact that Kash Patel and others were warning people off, like Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent, of investigating is, if true, a very, very telling black mark. Now, construing that or connecting any conspiracy theory between the government organisations and Turning Point USA is another stretch, if you ask me. Why would they cooperate in such a thing? Why would they if they love Charlie? Right? I certainly would not want a fake investigation done on the death of my loved one. I certainly would not. And I would be yelling it from the loudest rooftops. I would be on my show every day saying that fucking FBI is screwing us over. They're not investigating these people. Now, whether they have privately or loudly on their show, I don't know. I have to be honest with you. I've dropped off watching Charlie's show, the Charlie Kirk show, since Charlie died. I have to be honest with you, because Charlie made it special. He really did. And there will never be another Charlie Kirk. Andrew Colvert's good. You know, Blake Neff, he's okay. But, you know, I have issues. I have trust issues with these people that these guys like this have forced into my mind, and you know, weird stuff. But, you know, I still want to wait and see what the evidence brings, what the court case brings, what is shown there before I go making blanket judgments on people like Colvert, Neff, his wife, his bodyguard, whom took that photo of me and my husband with Charlie. So, you know, the like I said, the letter, they're saying that the letter was ChatGPT. Like, people do stupid things. Like, people do stupid things. These trannies are fucked in the head. They're fucked in the head. How many trannies write their manifesto? Why isn't that question like ChatGPT? Like, how do we know? Do we know that it was ChatGPT that typed out the message? Do we know? Was there a reference? Can they hack his computer and see if he went on ChatGPT? He usually keeps a history of what you asked for. Like, seriously, Grok does. So why wouldn't ChatGPT keep a history of what you've asked it? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Israel makes more sense. But how did they convince Tyler, a 20-something-year-old kid, to take out the leading advocate for Israeli safety Israel's safety, not the government, but the people of Israel. He was the big advocate. He was one of the lead advocates. They were trying to get him to do more, and in turn that force turned him away, made him suspicious. So if it made Charlie suspicious, certainly makes me suspicious. I'm sorry, but he had good gut instincts. That's just a fact. And Alex Jones couldn't even deny that. He had good gut instincts and he knew what he had to do. Again, I don't believe about the court case. I just think, and then they're trying to connect Butler with Charlie's death as well. That was an inside job. Like, if Tyler was a patsy for Israel, how did they convince him to do it? Where's the money? What did they do to convince him? How did they manage to convince him? I hope he testifies to all of this because he's got a good case. He's got a good case for dismissal if they tried to MK Ultra him. Like, seriously, and I don't want him to go free, but, like, if he can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Israel, that some way, forced his hand to do what he did, then there you go. Bubble burst. Bye-bye, BB. That would be a celebration worth having. Wouldn't it be great if on the 4th of July, the birthday, 250th birthday of America, BB ended up in jail? That would be a great thing. But see, now you have to connect that and you have to get Israel. You have to make sure that Israel had convinced Tyler not to say anything. Like, you wouldn't want your patsy going out telling everybody. Like, did what's his face? Oh God, what's his name? See, I'm so sick. It's gone blank. The dude that killed JFK, he didn't go around telling anybody that he was planning to kill JFK, but Tyler Robinson did. He told his cousin. He was at his cousin's for dinner, and he was saying how he's hateful and he should be killed, or somebody should kill him. Maybe he'll do it, or something along those lines. This was either a few days or a few weeks before Charlie's event happened in Utah. I think it was announced not long before the actual event happened. So, if the trannies are connected to it, right, through Israel, how did they convince Tyler to do it? And then why did they think that Tyler could keep his mouth shut? Because he didn't, because he was telling his mates. People, obviously, on these tranny-verse web channels, social media, wherever they go, that somebody knew something. These guys were saying this is actual videos. Can't dismiss them. We all saw them. People are trying to say, the timestamps and this was done on this side of the world, so the timestamp was actually after Charlie's death and blah, blah, blah. No, these people were in Utah, whatever you call it. The Egyptian military planes, that was kiboshed a long time ago, thank God, because that was just a stupid-ass theory. So, if the trannies, connected it, then there was the military ops, they were having these 11 generals meeting with Erica and obviously in plain sight, because this guy, supposedly the whistleblower, could just walk straight into where they were having this high profile meeting to kill Charlie Kirk. I mean, let's cross that one off the list. So the trannies, they're saying that the tranny movement connects Tyler to the murder of Charlie. They're saying that Brooks was connected to the tranny movement. I don't think he was, but he was radicalized. He was a Trump supporter, and then he turned into a big raging lefty. But did Israel do that? How did they do that? How did they manage to why did they choose a place again? So this is why I think it was just dumb luck that Charlie's dead. I just think it was dumb luck that the bullet hit Charlie. I mean, we all know what would have happened if Trump had not had his head turned, right? This is just dumb luck. This is not precision Mossad operations, at least by the gunman in question, all right? Brooks and Richardson. So these people, both of them, Brooks was like ranting and raving about killing Trump supporters or whatever it was that they found out all about him and his social media profile. What's her name on Fox News did a inside deep dive on him. Found all of this stuff. Miranda, fine. So if the trannies are connected to it, and this is the network, who's the person from Israel that's involved in the tranny network, and how are they getting away with being involved in that tranny network unless they too are a tranny? Okay, that's another thing, right? So let's just think about all of these things. Was this an opportunistic killing that just by fucking sheer luck hit the mark, or a mark that was fatal? Whether it be the head, the neck, the chest, straight through the heart, whatever. It hit the mark. Trump's bullet also hit the mark. It hit multiple marks. It hit Corey. It hit 2 other people in the audience that were in critical condition, and it hit Trump. So they were real bullets. An Israeli agent would not have fired more than 1 bullet. They would have fired that bullet. If it had missed Trump, they would have got the fuck out of there. They wouldn't have started spraying bullets. I'm just telling you. That's not how fucking the intelligence agencies work. And Crooks is certainly no fucking intelligence agent, let alone one for Mossad. It's just ridiculous. You know? So there was that tweet about Harrison that Harrison put up, that Charlie, he has it under good authority that Charlie thinks that Israel will kill him if he keeps turning against them, which, look, there's another video that he did, the interview with Megyn Kelly, that was like went viral again just recently, because we all know that Charlie was questioning the fucking war. We all know that. This is another fact that we all know, right? Does that mean that instantaneously Israel's going to take him out, like literally take him out? This is, again, I don't know whether they did or they didn't. They have the ability to. They have a lot of tentacles. Definitely wasn't a Mossad agent or a Mossad sniper that took out Charlie Kirk or attacked President Trump or hit President Trump or Corey or the other 2 people that were injured in the crowd. So Joe Kent was apparently fired for looking into it and being a sort of a whistleblower on it. I mentioned before when they were talking about his remarriage, I think it was 4 years before he actually got remarried. I could check it, but you can check it. And so just go on to Grok. It's a simple question. Do it now while you're watching this. Now, then they were talking about courting like a significant other. Like, I don't even know, I can't even remember in what prospect they were talking about that, but they were talking about like somebody's dying, and imagine if your best friend, if your best friend said, oh, you know, I'll look after your wife, and you said, oh, thank you. Oh, you know, I really would like her to have somebody to look after her when I'm gone. You know, would you mind taking on the burden of like falling in love and having sex with my wife for the rest of eternity? Give me a fucking break. No way. There's no fucking way. When I see my husband next week, I'm going to ask him this question. Would you mind if, I don't know, just let's just say one of his single friends, I can't say Zach because he's taken now, but would you mind if one of your mates came up to you while you were dying and said, you know, I really like your wife. Would you mind if, you know, you're dying and everything, that I kind of step in? Oh, thank you, mate. It's like I was so praying that someone would come in, you know, and take care of her because she's so young and beautiful. I'm not, but you know, she needs. Fuck off! No effing way is that happening in anyone's way. Like maybe the guy dies and the other two, they're both being single, hopefully, unlike Hunter Biden. Like, you know, it's like, give me a break. We, Hunter's three-way that he was freaking having with his wife and his sister-in-law, to, to us, that was considered abhorrent. It was an abomination. And what now? It's like, oh, it's selfless. Oh, please, please. If you find me a man that agrees to doing that while he's still alive, I'll find you a loser. I'll find you a loser, because any guy that would do that while I was sitting there alive too, that's like palming me off like a piece of fucking property onto his mate. Like, get fucked. You guys are nuts. I'm sorry, Alex. I love you, but you're nuts. That does not happen. And if it does happen, those people are weird. Abomination. Now it's selfless. You sound like a Democrat. Mark Levin's going off his fucking nut. I don't believe that oil. I'm so pleased. I have to go back. I'm so pleased that Mark Levin's going off his nut. It's been quite a comedy sort of thread that we've been having in our private chats with my friends in the US, that he's losing his mind. I think Alex got one in the other day when he said he noticed that Levin was wearing a smaller badge, smaller brooch, USA flag brooch. He like had this huge freaking, it was like a like 8x10 fucking portrait of, you know, the US flag on his chest. And he's right. Alex is right. It progressively got bigger from the like the normal size, you know, like a normal little flag like this type of thing on your lapel here, but it's now it's like this big, you know. It's like, oh, hang on, nah, it's about that big. It's hard to do that in the camera. And so like Alex caught him in like the shrinking of his American flag, and he does a lot of imitations of Mark Levin now. He loves he loves stirring him up. And Luma, they're all nuts. All of these APAC, Asia, Israel First people, they're all fucking nuts. Huckabee, you know, they're all nuts. I wonder if his daughter is ashamed of him. I really do, because some of the things that he said are actually shameful. So nobody's winning any fucking popularity contests over here with all this Israel shit. I can tell you that. Iran, Israel, like, that's a Middle East war. Like, they said that oil was going to, Alex said something about 4 weeks, oil will spike to $200 a barrel and it's a depression and rah, rah, rah. Well, we've been at this since February. End of February or whatever it was that this thing started, and I don't think that oil's ever gotten anywhere near 200 a barrel. It's now currently around 85, 83, 85 or something from what I hear, and Trump's complaining that people aren't putting their prices down accordingly at the pumps. I can tell you here, pump price is very reasonable considering we're in a war. That they're saying, you know, every day it's a war, it's a war, it's a war, even though Trump says it's over, or when, you know, and I'll admit Trump's been saying it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. I'm not going to, you know, pretend that he hasn't been juggling 68 balls in the air, but we were all getting a little frustrated with him, every one of us, right? Even Stephen Crowder and all of them started getting frustrated with some of his decision making, as Alex pointed out as well. But, you know, $85 a barrel. And here we've got, I think, $1.89 for diesel, and it's $1.45 or 54 for just normal unleaded petrol. So that's quite, that's possibly pre-war prices or beginning of the war prices. I think I bought diesel the day before the war started, because I was watching the news, the morning that the war started over there, I was listening to it. And so that night, I was actually coming home from the hospital again, and I stopped in at the service station and filled up my tank that night for $1.81 for diesel. And now we're back down to, we got up to like $3. I think it was like $3.09 at its highest, maybe a little bit higher, I'm not sure, but it's now back down to sort of hovered around the 250, 280 mark and then slowly crept down. Now it's under $2. So I don't know where they're getting this information about the oil spiking and all of that sort of shit. I think Trump needs to just end whatever deal it is or agreements he has with Bibi Netanyahu. I don't think Alex is right in saying that he should endorse Bibi's opponent. I actually think that Trump should stay the fuck out of it. Just stay the fuck out of it. If anything, he should endorse Bibi's prison sentence, not being like, oh, he's a great man, he's a wartime leader, let him go. No. No free pass for fucking Bibi. Isn't it enough that you've pissed off the American people so much to the point that you're not doing anything about Fauci, anything about Comey? Oh, yeah, I know, indictment, blah, blah, blah. Had one of those before, didn't we? We know indictment, easy as a ham sandwich. That's the saying. You can indict a ham sandwich in the SDNY, especially. So, not helping when you keep saying these good things about Bibi. It's just not helping. We don't like him. The world doesn't like him. You told him that we don't like him and the world doesn't like him, so you know that that's the situation. Stop liking him yourself. I know it's hard. I know you girls married to a Jew. Oh, my God, I don't know how these people do it without drinking. I know that Ivanka's married to Jared and he's a Jew and he's like the golden boy with the money making and the fucking deals and whatever. The other boys are all doing it now too. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, these guys are terrible. They're this and that. But really? We're doing that? Just get away from anything Bibi Netanyahu. Keep on the trail. Keep backing J.D. Vance when he says, we're trying to get the best deal for everybody concerned, including Israel. It's Israel that's not backing off. It's Israel that's not adhering to the deal, terms of the deal, of the MOA or MOU. So, let them sort it out. That's a medieval war that's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. We can't keep intervening. The Iranian people need to rise up as they have before and have a revolution as they have before and oust the Ayatollahs and that whole radical Muslim regime. That's the only answer here. It really is the only answer for the Middle East and for Israel, because if Iran is a peaceful nation, and Qatar and all of them have already proved, if Iran falls to a democratic, let's say a democratic republic, and they establish that, then the Hezbollah's not being funded anymore because they're not going to fund the people that are going to keep them in conflict. That's all we can hope for with Iran and all of these Middle Eastern countries that have all of these tyrannical freaking leaders. New York, it's going to be like that soon. We can only do so much. The rest of it, we just have to sit back and watch the show. It's like I said, it's time for places like Syria and Qatar and the UAE to protect their own interests in the Middle East, staying peaceful. they maybe need to nudge Israel and say, oi, we are going to sanction you guys. We are going to take actions against you guys if you do not cease aggravations in these nations. Okay? Because Trump has made it very clear that he's pissed off with Israel for attacking or even retaliating in the middle of these peace talks. And I don't blame him, because it's fucking hard enough to do. Hard enough to do without the likes of Bibi Netanyahu sticking his big, fat, Jewish nose into the situation for his own gain. His own gain. Just remember that. And Trump always says they're going on about, like you said, about Japan should be totally insulted. Come on. Grow a spine. It was 80 fucking years ago. Like, seriously. Pardon the pun, but Japan, if they did get hurt, you should build a bridge. You could have, are you still building that bridge that you started building 80 years ago? Because I don't remember Truman telling Japan that he was going to drop a nuke on them either. Why would you? It's a fucking war. You're not going to tell the fucking enemy what you're going to do. You just do it and then hope for the best. That's how this works. That's how this war thing works. Think Hitler would have gone into war if he knew he was going to lose the way he lost? Do you think Stalin would have gone into a deal with Hitler if he knew that Hitler was going to turn around and fucking screw him up the arse? It's like, we have the examples from the past to tell us what happens. This is why we all are against communism and socialism, because we have the examples in the past to tell us what's going to happen. Past behaviour is a great predictor of future behaviour. Thank you, Dr. Phil. So it's a flipping war. Get over it. No one's going to tell you what their fucking war plans are. And like I said, do you think that when he's saying, oh, we've only got 4 weeks of oil left, it could be what you said, a strategic plan to put them off, to make them think that we are weaker or they are weaker than they are? You said it yourself. You answered your own question. I need say no more. I think saying that Trump doesn't care about the American people, again, it goes back to Trump says dumb things. When he said the thing about Medicare, look, to be honest with you, a sustainable Medicare system that's free for all is not sustainable. We're living it. We're fucking living it right now. NDIS, all of that crap. It's not sustainable. The federal government at least needs to have minimal input into that, unless you can find a system that really, like our Medicare system is federal, but it's blocked, it's clogged, it's been grifted and attacked and eaten from the inside. So there needs to be a revamp of our government-funded healthcare system, let alone inventing a new one. Okay, we're up to Palm Beach Pete. That's the last page. That's the last page, so we're going to be going soon. But we're up to Palm Beach Pete. I just don't think that there is any reason that anyone would think that Palm Beach, and I said it at the beginning, said it when they started talking about him. If Jeffrey Epstein, who was not an attractive guy, but he wasn't really an unattractive guy, I guess, was he? If Jeffrey Epstein went into surgery, knew he was going to have his escape plan, as I said, there's a whole website that's called Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead, or is Jeffrey Epstein dead, something like that, .gov.org, whatever it is, .org. Is Jeffrey Epstein alive.org, I think is the website. If he, with all of his billions and billions of dollars that he's amassed over the years, went into his surgeon's office, his plastic surgeon's office, and the plastic surgeon showed me an identikit of what I was going to look like Palm Beach Pete, I would fucking shoot the fucking surgeon. I would fucking lose my shit. And you know what? If I fucking went into that surgery being told that I was not going to look like that guy and came out looking like that guy, I would shoot the fucking surgeon. Because Jesus Christ, that man is ugly, fugly. Like, no fucking way is that Jeffrey fucking Epstein. And as I said, there was that shot that was from a drone or something over. They said it was a satellite, but it must be a drone because he was looking up. How would he know a satellite's over him? But anyway, that guy did look like Jeffrey Epstein, and it was taken supposedly from Epstein Island, so it would make sense that that could be Epstein. But as I said, when was it taken? Was it taken when he was alive and on the island? Like, you don't know. They could have doctored the timestamp. They could have done anything. They're feeding us what they want us to hear, or they're feeding us the truth. It can only be one or the other. You know what I mean? You can't have a conspiracy that's based in truth. Because if the truth is the conspiracy, well, then it's got to be proven. So it's no longer a conspiracy. It's an actual act, a conspiratorial act that involved a certain amount of people that you now have viable proof and you can take to a court of law and say, these are the people involved. Like they did with the mafia and with the RICO. They indicted all the people from the top down because they had incontrovertible proof that it was a conspiracy between certain parties. Now, conspiracy theory is simply that. Just a theory. And that's where we have to let them go, because if you believe it's a theory that has clause, yeah, talk about it. But if you can, if it can't be substantiated and you keep talking about it, and people have come out in opposition like myself saying, yeah, no, that's just, I don't think that's right. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, because there are other people that don't believe any of this hogwash about Charlie's death. Let alone Epstein's freaking whole scandal, then what are we doing here? We're just in it for clicks, sound bites, snapshots and sound bites, as the failed Dan Bongino used to say. And, you know, with all of these, I mean, look, Jeffrey Epstein's not dead. Charlie's not dead. Somewhere in the Pacific or the South Pacific, or I don't know, somewhere in this world, there is an island that is totally inhabited. Now get this, people, it's totally inhabited by dead people and servants to serve those dead people. Let's think about this. Charlie Kirk, Jeffrey Epstein, Princess Diana, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson. Who else? Who else was there? You know, like, let's get real. Let's fucking get real. Did Israel kill them all? Did Israel give Elvis Presley a poison enema and kill him? Like, oh, there's another one, Marilyn Monroe. You know, she's not dead, and she's off living somewhere, greatest, her best life somewhere, at whatever, 89 years old or whatever she would be today. Did Israel kill them all? The passengers from 9/11, where did all they go? I mean, that was a big conspiracy. They were like autonomous jets, and the Pennsylvania one just disappeared into nothing. Where did all those people go? That's, you know, I don't know where those people went, especially the ones in Pennsylvania, but the ones in the towers, I think we all know where they went. But anyway, just, you know, all the people from 9/11 airplane disasters and the people that were in the towers, they're all on this island. Then we've got imagine being told, like, Charlie Kirk's planning his death. He's planning his death, right? Imagine going to somebody and saying, how do I do this? I mean, there's got to be like a planner, a fixer, the organizer, like from Pulp Fiction. There's got to be some guy that you turn to. George Soros, maybe. Who knows? Maybe it's BB himself. But who do you go to, and what do you say when they say, okay, look, we're going to kill you, but you have to go and live on an island for eternity with the likes of Saddam Hussein, George Bush Sr., Osama bin Laden, and Charles Manson, like just to name a few. You could throw a couple of the Kennedy administration in there. All of these evil people. Like, go watch an episode of South Park with the Satan people. They're always got like a bunch of dead people that are on there. Elvis and Jerry Lewis, all of them. Like, all these dead people, did Israel kill them all? Are they all on this island? And did you agree to go and live on this island just so that you can get out of going to jail? Who's the fucking idiot here? Who's the idiot here, really? No fucking way. I'm not getting on that fucking pleasure cruise. I mean, seriously. Charles Manson. Yeah, sure, I'll go. No probs. It's all expensive paid, isn't it? Yeah, they make good cocktails, mocktails. Like, come on. Well, people, we really do need to get real. And I mean, really do. I don't know what else to tell you. We've been going 3 hours now, so I really don't know what else to tell you. That hour was an interview. That was an hour and 45 minutes. So we've done another hour and 45, pretty much. Talk about a minute. Sorry, I've been off camera. I haven't done a show for weeks and weeks and weeks. As you know, I'm sick now, but I have. My mum's been in hospital, in and out of hospital. I've got all of this other stuff going on, mental breakdowns and all of that sort of stuff. You want to include it. But I've got pages and pages of notes that I've been like watching the news and thinking, I've got to talk about that on the next show. But it all just gets to be too much. Maybe we can cover it another time. But I got to a place where I was so depressed about all the news that I just didn't even want to do a broadcast, to be absolutely honest with you. It was just so depressing. It was making me sad. I actually went for about a week and a half there where I did not watch. I watched snippets of news, like on X and stuff like that. I just did not turn on the news. I was watching reruns of South Park, reruns of The Simpsons, reruns of Landman and all of that stuff. I was just totally off news for at least a week, because it was really making me sad and depressed, and I was taking it out on my family and like thinking the world's like, it's over, why do we even bother, and all of this fatalistic shit, and I'm just like, and now I'm sick, and it's like, it's my life. But as they say on the Codral commercial, you've just got to soldier on and keep doing it. Keep getting up in the morning and putting your feet on the ground, getting up and pulling pants on. Whatever the job is. Whatever the job is now. My husband's like feeling sick at the moment too. He actually works away. He's on a mine site as we speak now. I'm not sure. He said he was going to work tonight or not. He said he was feeling crook and he might take the night off. He's got the same thing as me. Not for me though, because he's been over in another state for like 3 weeks. So, but anyway, that's besides the point. Just soldier on. Take your Codral and soldier on, buddy. Oh, you do what you want, babe. I'm over trying to tell you. Anyway, I'm going to let everybody go. As I said, we've been going for 3 hours now, so I think it's time for me to go inside and, I haven't got my watch, make some dinner, definitely. So I will chat with you all later. I'm not sure when I'm going to do another show, guys. I don't want to burst anyone's bubbles, but, really just keep coming on here and talking about the same things over and over again. And you all know them. I really would like to maybe when I'm with my husband next, when he's home next, do some stuff about what's going on with the Australian budget and shit like that, because we're both quite a few Australians, but my husband and I especially are pissed off and really disillusioned with this government that is running our country at the moment. But that's another story for another day and another episode. So here to recall the end of episode 157 of Meet Me in the Bunker. Thank you for joining us today. Enjoy your Thursday or whatever day it is, wherever you are. And we always, as usual, keep the faith, follow the facts, and find the fight, people. Have a great day. Have a great night. Mega out.